Running this time. We'll see. We'll see. See if things pop up here. Trying it again. Trying it again. Hey, that looks good. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can confirm in chat that I'm working, but a couple things to notate today. We've got Tom Lee, who is bullish on the markets heading into Thanksgiving. He thinks we're going to see a Thanksgiving rally. Lol muted video this time. Is it working? Okay, good. All right. But yeah, so Tom Lee thinks that we're going to have a Thanksgiving rally. We've got Fear and Greed sitting at the 58 level. We've got Solana hitting new highs. Bitcoin got to 99,000 last night. I think we're firing on all cylinders, guys. I'm very excited to what's to come. I might be a little too premature here, but I did post something today where I said, today is the day for 100K, and I put a meme that says it rhymes because it's true. And I actually think we're going to do this today. If we don't, I think it happens by Monday. I think it's a given. There's just too much upside pressure across everything that I'm looking at today, which is very, 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 very exciting to see. Let me hop over to bookmarks here real quick. I'll try and get the chat up on X here too. I don't think I have that up and running yet. I do have a lunch date today, but I'm hoping to do a pretty decent stream and be around to talk with you guys for a bit. Good morning, Concord. How you doing, brother? Render OG says, I think this run of the weekly candles, dude, we're looking at the best monthly candle in history. I mean, by price, let's be very clear. Percentage-wise, it just wouldn't be there. Jason said, I watched Rex. He's making sense. Of course, it felt a little bit emotional, though. Yeah, I think he's got a lot going on, man. You got to realize Rex, let's just pop over here real quick. Let's look. Oh, you guys don't need to see that. You don't need to see my whole account and what I'm making off of YouTube's. Let's go over here, though. We'll just pull it up over here. We'll pull up Rex. Let's find him. There we go. Yeah, so a couple things to note. One, his video from yesterday got 10,000 views, and I'd say he's probably a little emotional because he got 56,000 views off of his Clean Spark video from about 24 hours ago, 36 hours ago. I would say that's a lot. That's a lot for anybody. And so he's got a lot of eyeballs on him. There's people critiquing him. There's people that are, positive and supporting him because he's brilliant and he's a hard worker. And I'm really proud of him. I think he's great for a 25-year-old dude. I think he's got a way better head on his shoulders than I used to have. I was probably pretty stoned and maybe playing video games about his age, maybe hacky sack with my loser friends. Not that hacky sack is a horrible thing. I actually kind of love that. I did injure my neck with it, though, so not super great. I ruptured a disc from C3 to C4 because I was high and drunk and slipped on wet grass. Not my finest era of time, but just a quick comparison. I mean, this guy, not the greatest view, but compared to where I was at 25, again, he's a great guy. He's brilliant. He's wise. He's hardworking. I think he's very genuine and honest. That's the farmer in him. And yeah, I don't know. I think he makes a lot of sense too. I did a few posts as well. Just talking about MicroStrategy and the miners. I actually have a lot of faith still in the miners that they're going to do really well. I still have all of my Clean Spark options. I don't know if they're at 550K or what they're at. It's a lot. I think in Clean Spark in total, I have $600,000. And then with options, it's really a strong levered play. So I still have a lot of hope for miners. I would like them, though, to try and incorporate the same convertible bond strategy that we're seeing MicroStrategy and Mara do. I think if you're in the Bitcoin industry, I think that's probably going to be a really popular thing to do. I think it'll be a hype train. It'll be like IPOs in 2017 or a stupid fucking dog in the last cycle in 2020, 2021. So I think everybody's going to get on board with the accounting, the convertible bonds accounting that we're seeing going on. And just everybody switching to a Bitcoin strategic reserve asset. That is the popular narrative right now. I think that will only continue. But I think there's a lot of good things ahead. I'm really excited. Great shirt, Jesse. I know, right? I'm like, I should probably wear my own shirt at least one time. I don't have the micro to macro mug, though, so I'm not fully representing. Hey, guys, should I throw out a poll? Should I get a Tux and then put like a jet up behind me over here, and then just make everything black, white, and gray. Would that be a good look? Sorry, that's a joke towards something. Some people will get it. You pumped his last video, that's why. Yeah, I don't know if I pumped it, but I definitely supported him because it was, like, frankly, one of the better explainers, probably better than I would have done. So I'm happy to support him, and I'm happy that other people appear to have as well. Couple things. I want to show this real quick. So this is Peter Schiff. There's Peter Schiff. There's one from like 13 years ago with Peter Schiff talking about why Bitcoin, like very briefly in the beginning, why it's a better asset than gold, which I thought was funny. But this is Natalie Brunell, absolute hottie. She's so cool. I love her. She's just brilliant. She's just so great. She came from nothing like last cycle, went to a conference, and I think they just hired her because she was a pretty face. But she's just freaking brilliant, and I love her. She's one of the best people in the space. And but anyway, she's interviewing Peter, and this interview I just think is great. So we're gonna start off with this, okay?
If you could think of one.
Am I out of PayPal? I've sold about 20% of my position. I have a lot of contracts. I have 400 of the 2026s. I have $450,000. Actually, maybe more. I think I have some in my other account. So I could be closer to $500,000 in options. So I would say no, I have not, but I've maybe gotten rid of about 20% of that position. Do I still own Bitfarms? I haven't sold it. I've actually added to it. Well, here, guys, let me just, if we're going to be doing this, I'll just show you guys this. Some people ask me to show my options anyway. But yeah, this hasn't fully adjusted today. It's down from me buying the dip super hard on MSTX yesterday. This is just my main account, but I bought a lot more than this. I have maybe close to 600,000 this morning on MSTX. So I've got a lot. I've really dipped into that play hard. It was down 35, almost 40% for MSTX yesterday. Called the top on that perfectly. But yeah, if you look over here, so CleanSpark, what do we have? CleanSpark? I've got CleanSpark. I bought a bunch of Bitfarms. I've got 137,000 shares, $280,000 in Bitfarms. All I've done is stack. So Jesse, my brother-in-law, just got a M2 MO. Oh, sweet sweater. Cool, man. Glad to hear it. It's so weird. The first time I see somebody walking around with my clothes, I'm going to be a little baffled, I think. BTDR hopped on the CB train as well. Oh, did they? Bitdeer is doing the same kind of accounting thing. I think they're all going to do it. Don't tell anybody. It's just our secret, okay? Blazer said, is this technically illegal, or could Michael Saylor coordinate buys with other public companies doing the convertible bond strategy for big? No, you would never do that. Any kind of anything where you're working with a bunch of others to move market is highly illegal. They wouldn't do that. They're focused on their thing, and frankly, they don't want to move the market. He would rather not move the market when making his buys because he would rather just get the good price, right? Not that he cares. He just literally says go time, but he's got people that do the buys, and they don't want slippage. They don't want the price to move a lot because it means he's getting a shittier deal, right? So it's not his goal to break the sell wall. He will. He probably will. I think he'll do it by Monday at the latest. I think he could do it today. Yeah, collusion, cartel. Exactly, VR. You can't do that stuff. But yeah, so here's some stuff. Anybody got any other questions? Nope. Okay, good. We still got Tesla. We got about 1.9. I did sell out in my other account again to buy MSTX. Again, like I got 600K in it. My strategy, I think, is to kind of, and I call it arbitrage. It's really not the appropriate use of the term at all, because arbitrage is normally used for like, hey, there's a currency market over here. There's a currency market over here. There's a disparity between them. You arbitrage between it. That's what the FTX guy did before he stole everybody's money. But yeah, so that's arbitrage traditionally. But I think, again, this isn't the right term, but I use it in a way with MSTX. I think is going to be my vehicle. The craziness. And I'm trying to identify, guys. I'm going back and I'm looking historically at trying to get as close as I can to the time frames that Saylor has been doing his purchases, to when the convertible debt offerings expire or are created, and the share dilution, all the things that they've used to purchase. I'm trying to figure out the timings of those, and then also figure out the technicals on the chart to see if I can recognize any really good patterns. It seems to be pretty straightforward, though. I mean, Saylor literally, right before he did a major buy, said we should have another green dot on the MicroStrategy tracker showing that when they purchase. And then, like a day later, he got notification that they bought like billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. So he gives you an idea of kind of when things are coming. I feel like you have at least a rough idea. And again, what was their convertible bond debt offering recently? Before we get to Natalie Brunell, let's hop over and look at that real quick. What did they do? Oh, God, so much insanity with MicroStrategy. Yeah, it has completed their $3 billion offering of convertible notes at a 0% coupon and a 55% premium with an implied strike price of 672 with an expiration of 2029. I love that. He's ready. He's locked and loaded. He's ready to do some buying. That's why we dropped, guys. When the price goes up a lot, and I tell you that there's risk of rolling over, and let me just show this real quick. Again, guys, like don't get so excited about number go up that you lose track with reality and common sense. Yesterday, I said, guys, it's pretty scary. We're at the .618. This would be a good time to roll over. It could run higher, but we're probably going to roll over. And if it rolls over, I'll be a buyer of the dip. And it rolled over beautifully, fell underneath the next fib line, closed perfectly right near it. I think it was actually below. Let me see. It was below. Or no, maybe it was right at it. No, it was right at it. It was right above it. Perfectly found support on it. And then now we're right up here at 409. So again, like don't let number go up emotions prevent you from taking profits when you know you should. And look at the volume candle. Look at the volume candle on that day, guys. Holy shibits. Is that literally the biggest volume candle in the history of MicroStrategy? Let me shrink this up real quick. Yeah, it is. By far. Look at that. Look at that day yesterday, guys. So, again, just don't be idiots. Don't be fucking stupid. Is that too much to ask, guys? Don't be fucking stupid. When something goes up almost 4,000% in 2 years, and I tell you we're at the golden retracement zone where it's likely to roll over, and that pattern is literally off of the $13 range. It's a trend-based fib extension showing that we're reaching a top off of literally the cycle low to the recent high, down to the low, where we retraced more than 50%. Or right about, literally 50% to the low. And then we came up here and perfectly tested this. And it's called the golden retracement zone for a reason. Okay? It's because it's really good at accuracy levels. Let me move this over here. But here's what I love now, guys. Now that we've done this, we could go lower. So first off, let me just focus on this because I think a lot of people need to understand this. First off, we're down 28% from the high that we were at yesterday. Now, the measured move completed. We'll get that off the screen. What I want you to make note of is right here, okay? This is the elephant in the room. Doesn't have to happen. I don't even know if it's going to. I wouldn't bet on it. I pray it does because I would like to get more MSTR to be able to play the volatility. And when I talk about arbitrage, I should really just say volatility so I don't confuse people. Because I would love for this thing to go down to here. I would love it. I would love it. My bias, it going down to there. Do I think it's going to happen? If we get lucky. Maybe a 30% chance. Maybe 50. I shouldn't say that. Because this is a 48% return. Could totally happen. If we don't see a decent amount of liquidity or if people are just effing with the market, maybe we drop down and close this gap. That would be a 49% move. Wouldn't be much different than what we did over here. The only difference is we're in a phase of parabola. And so this would be short and quick. Oh, hey, guys, we got Michael Saylor talking. Fuck this. Why am I talking? But yeah, so if this happens, I will gobble this shit up in a heartbeat and buy it because here's what would happen in the corresponding months. If we close this gap, guys, maybe right around here, I would see 200% upside in the next quarter for MicroStrategy. That's 400% on MSTX. So just putting it out there. Sol continuing to run. Let's hop over here. We got to listen to our man. Let me get up here real quick. We don't have a Satoshi, but we do have Michael Saylor, and he's the next best thing. So let's get in front of this. Why is this not showing me the live? Give me the live. Give me the live. I am on pro. Oh, wait a sec. Is it being stupid? No, there we go. Screen is weird sometimes. All right, we're going to go back. We're going to go back. We need the beginning of Saylor, not the end. All right. Sorry I missed this. I just looked up. That's why I have some screens running this all the time, because I want to be able to hear things when they come up. So let's get to Saylor, and then we'll go back to me.
Squawk, we're watching
back to
Bitcoin
Saylor.
near $100,000. It's at a high of about $99,500 yesterday, but MicroStrategy, the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin, was down 16%. That fall coming after Citron Research disclosed a short position in MicroStrategy. Citron said that it's still bullish on Bitcoin and praised MicroStrategy's executive chairman, Michael Saylor, but it said the company's volume has completely detached from Bitcoin's fundamentals.
Yeah.
Michael Saylor is here with us.
That's the part that he benefits from.
I'd love for
you tell him, buddy.
If you could. It's great to see you. Bitcoin's been on a wild run, and boy, have you been right. But I'd love for you to respond to this report.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people don't understand our core business. We're a Bitcoin treasury company. We're powered by a Bitcoin reactor. We've got $35 billion of Bitcoin, and it's spinning at 100 vol. So the way we make money is we're selling the volatility and recycling it back into Bitcoin. And we're also stripping the volatility and the risk and the performance off of fixed income securities. And we're transferring that to the common stock. So our common stock is delivering 2x Bitcoin, 2x vol. So, Andrew, if you want to understand the economics of this, we generate a spread. The BTC spread we generate, it's a function of the equity.
Let's just be real. Andrew doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about at all. He is way too dumb to get this.
Premium, the convert premium, and the Bitcoin premium. The Bitcoin premium is the ARR of Bitcoin versus the US dollar. 2 weeks ago, we did 4.6 billion of an ATM. We ran it at a 70% spread. That means we made about a $3 billion BTC gain in 5 days. That would be about $12.50 a share. But over 10 years, that's $36 billion, or about $150 a share, just on that 1 week. This week, we did a convertible bond, $3 billion at an 80% BTC spread. That's a $2.4 billion gain. That's about $10 a share. But over 10 years, that's $125 a share to the shareholders. I think the thesis of the shorts is...
Andrew's already lost. He was lost a long time ago. He's going to ask like the stupidest fucking questions.
If the premium in the equity disappears, we can't make money.
But
what they miss is that when we actually borrow money at 6% and we invest it in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin goes up 30%.
Hopefully it should work today.
And by the way, Bitcoin's going up 60%. We're getting a 90% BTC spread, but
Dorgan Sorkin is. I know.
BTC
Why not
spread,
Joe?
which means the $3 billion fixed income raise in preferreds or bonds generates the same $125 a share and $30 billion over 10 years. So once you understand that, you have a different view of the company.
So what do you say though to those who say there's a risk here, because this is effectively a levered Bitcoin position, and if in fact Bitcoin goes down, this becomes a much more complicated situation.
Yeah, well, the number one risk you take is the existential risk that Bitcoin has an extinction level event and goes to zero immediately tomorrow. But every long investor in MicroStrategy is a Bitcoin maximalist or a Bitcoin believer. They've accepted that risk. Once you accept that risk, what do we expect? We expect it's going to go up 29% a year for the next 21 years. It's been going up 60% a year. So the people that are buying the equity are buying the equity because they want 2x Bitcoin, they want 2x vol. And once you accept that idea, you can see, over the last 2 weeks, Andrew, we've generated $5.4 billion in BTC gains. We're making $500 million a day. I'm staring at my screen, and we're selling dollar bills for $3, sometimes a million times a minute. And so it's not impossible. I mean, we may very well be the most profitable company in the United States, growing the fastest right now, because there's not many companies that are making
the most profitable company in the United States. I love Michael Saylor.
Making $500 million a day doing what they're doing.
Michael,
and so if you don't like Bitcoin, you don't want any piece of it. But if you like Bitcoin, then this is a monster for you.
Oh, look, I don't think anybody is debating the success that you're having, no question. I think the question, and we had Michael Novogratz on the broadcast yesterday, is just
where are we in the in the Bitcoin cycle? Said Crunchy Crunch. About mid. I mean, this is the second half of it. There's usually two halves. That could change more and more over time. But at least for this cycle, we're in the second half of it and getting ready to take off. On that note, let me just show one really quick thing before, and then we'll let Michael Saylor respond to dipshit Sorkin. But so where are we at? I got a good image for this. Hopefully, it doesn't take me 20 years to find it. It's in here somewhere. I swear to God, I literally can't find it. Son of a biscuit. Where is it? Thought I just did. Oh, you know what? I got to refresh. Let me refresh on Bitcoin real quick. 1 second. This is good. Maybe not. Maybe I won't find it. Why do I never? It's like the one time you want to find something, you can't find it. There was a chart that was beautiful. Let me see. Maybe I didn't bookmark it. Let me go down through here. It was beautiful, though. I really, really want to show it. Let me see if I can find it here. Right here. Oh, yeah. I didn't bookmark it. That'll do it. But this is from CryptoQuant. It shows post-halving returns going out 365 days, and it shows where we are right now. And if there's anything you notice from this, it's going to be that we're just getting started. Yay. So, yeah, we're in the second half. We're getting started. It's going to be kick-ass. Back to Michael Saylor.
That's the question of leverage. And, when people talk about leverage and, all sorts of bells go off in people's minds about what can happen if there is a downturn or there is a retreat, not necessarily to zero, but we've seen this be a very volatile asset. And while it's 100% gone up over the long term, and I'm not questioning that, I'm questioning whether you think if, in fact, there was a retracement from 98,000 to, 70,000, what happens?
I'll make 2 points. 1 point, participants in the market are buying Bitcoin 20x faster than the supply is coming from the miners. There's a major demand, supply imbalance, and that's going to continue for the foreseeable future. So I don't really expect that, but let's say it did happen. MicroStrategy's business is so good, we're generating 1 times the capital we raised. When we raised $10 billion in capital, if Bitcoin traded down $20,000 like you described, we'd still make $10 billion off the arbitrage by selling the volatility. If it trades up like I expect it will, we make 10x that. So we're either making $3 billion on that convertible bond this week, in the worst case when it trades down, or we're making $30 billion on that convertible bond if it trades like the Bitcoiners believe it will.
And Michael, how should investors think about buying MicroStrategies versus buying now an ETF that might be levered, for example?
Well, what makes us special is we've got $35 billion of permanent capital. So we can lever that. We can sell a 5-year bond, or we can pledge that as collateral and raise fixed income instruments. If I sell 6% bonds or 6% preferreds, I'm getting that 80% or more spread out of it. BlackRock is a great company, and IBIT's great, but it's overnight deposits. And the ETFs have overnight deposits. So they can't create duration. They can't exploit the difference between borrowing money at 0% and investing at a 60%. But that's exactly what we've been doing for the past 4 years.
So right now, I know you've been buying your own stock, but right now, if somebody was interested in Bitcoin, you think that the better bet is MicroStrategy versus buying it directly, for example, forgetting about the leverage piece of it?
I actually think by far the best bet is buy our convertible bonds, because our convertible bonds are outperforming Bitcoin right now with downside protection. That's why we sold $3 billion of them this week.
The bond market loves this.
That's why I got a $500 million order to buy one in a 20.
Hey guys, guess what the best performing bonds on earth are? Whether they're a government, corporation, whatever sector, this guy.
minute meeting. So if I was really Bitcoin curious and I wanted downside protection and I wanted the upside of Bitcoin, I'd buy the convert. But ultimately, you got three choices, Andrew. You can buy Bitcoin fixed income instruments like a MicroStrategy convert, which is some of the upside but downside protection. You can buy the straight Bitcoin in a wrapped ETF like IBIT, which is fine. Or you can buy high voltage Bitcoin, 2x Bitcoin, which is what MicroStrategy is. And I think it depends on the investor.
Michael, what's the conversion premium and what's the coupon?
We just sold that bond at 55% premium, zero coupon, 5 years. It's the biggest crypto convert in history.
It's a zero.
And by the way,
yeah,
zero.
Yep.
And we're the only company in the world that's ever issued 5 converts in a single year. So we are dominating the convert market as well as the equity and the options market in Bitcoin-related securities.
I know you're obviously super bullish on Bitcoin. We had a guest here in the 6 o'clock hour. I don't know if you had an opportunity to see him. He said he believed that it is plausible that Bitcoin gets to $1 million a coin literally in the next year, given what he thinks may happen in Washington as it relates to this new Trump administration.
Well, my long-term forecast is 21 years, 29% ARR. Right now, we're 60% ARR. It'll decelerate toward 20% ARR over the next 21 years, and the volatility will decelerate from 60 vol to 20 or 25 vol. So that's my outlook. I think that the red wave was incredibly bullish. Basically, the red wave converted headwinds into tailwinds. Instead of a 20% headwind, it becomes a 20% tailwind. So I would be more bullish based upon the red wave. But ultimately, I think the right way to think of it is it's always going to be the stronger capital asset versus a conventional S&P index.
So what's that get us to? With what you say, 29% ARR, or what's in 21 years? What is that?
My forecast is 13 million a coin by the year 2045. And what I tell everybody is every Bitcoin you don't buy today is going to cost you $13 million in the future.
I love that.
Michael Saylor, giving us a lot to think about this morning. We appreciate you joining us on this Friday morning. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
When we come back, we'll talk about what we've...
All right, anyway, let's move on. So we'll get back to Natalie Brunell here in a second, too. Everything's dropping. It's okay, guys. We actually want that to happen, or at least I do. I don't know about you. I would prefer to get a better entry on MicroStrategy, so I hope it drops further. I've already stacked my Solana. And to be clear, Solana's doing really great, too. I just hope people... I don't know. I just hope people realize that just because there might be a delay in some assets and some things might be dropping this morning, when they're hitting new all-time highs every day, not exactly the time to get worried, especially heading into the end of the year. And it's in a week that is normally very bullish, with all of the bullish dynamics that are following us right now in regard to the Trump presidency. And just really everything macro-wise, I'm stupid excited about. So this is not the time that I would get worried about stuff. This is the time I would go shopping. And I'm glad people were giving me a hard time yesterday because I sold like 170,000 or 150 or something tomorrow, up like 11% on the day in order to be able to buy a bunch of MSTX, which I think is still up today. Somebody said it was down 12% in pre-market. I don't see it. Let me see here. It is lower. It's underperforming MSTU today. I can't even justify why that is. But that was the exact opposite problem yesterday, which is funny. So, but yeah, it's sitting at 1.6%. So it wasn't down 10. Maybe it was for a minute. I don't know. Going to sell 10% of my Clean Spark to get a footing into MSTR. Yeah, you can if you want. I still have all mine. I've got a bunch of other assets. Again, this is where diversification is key. There's a bunch of lesser conviction plays that I can play with. And I think I have like another 50,000 in cash or something too, that I could use. Let me see here. What's the disparity? Try not to go all the way up to my account number. It says 45 in here, 45,000 in cash that I can play around with this morning to buy some dip. So I hope we get some dip. That'd be fun. Let me hop over though. Let's listen to Natalie Brunell because she's brilliant. And I want to hear what she has to say. But yeah, this chart right here, guys, is showing what we have for fourth halving, where we're at right now. And again, I would encourage you not to get too worried. Also, if we look over at Glassnode, let me see if this pops up here. If we look over at Glassnode, I don't know if I have it all on this. Yeah, right here. Okay. So the MR, this is a great one. There's a bunch of others. There's all different variations of this. There's, yeah, like everybody has one, right? But you don't even get worried about this until it's up here. Like, not even worried about it. We're right here. We're right here. So should you be worried about a top? No, I wouldn't be. I think that's a big waste of energy. Should you be excited for things to drop and hoping that they do? That's my take. Anyway, let's get back over here. So let me see. I'm going to go back. Bitcoin. There we go. I want to be up here. I want to start at the top. Start at the top. All right, yes, that's the top now. There we go. Natalie Brunell. Let's listen to Natalie talking to Peter Schiff for a minute. This is great.
If you could think of one thing you wish you knew when you were younger, like you wish that everybody kind of knew and got, like what's...
Well, there are a lot of things. Obviously, look, clearly I wish I'd have bought Bitcoin, right, when I first heard about it. That was a key mistake.
That's the number one. That's awesome.
No, but I mean, obviously, I was wealthy at the time. I'm wealthier now, but could I have put $100,000 in it? Yeah, I could have. I put $100,000 in other things that turned out poorly. Could I have put $1 million in it? I could have. I think it's a stretch to think I would have made that big a bet on that. But again, I put $1 million into other investment opportunities and that didn't work out even that, so I could have, but obviously I could be,
he's so
one
salty.
of the Bitcoin billionaires. I was in a position because I knew about it early on and I had the resources to
look at her. She's like, so?
And I was a free market, hard money libertarian guy. So, I had that opportunity. So clearly, yeah, if I can go back in time, that's one of the things.
Pete. Glad to hear it.
A lot of other things I would do, once you know how things turn out.
But the funny part, somebody said he was salty. Yeah, value. Totally right. I put it up here. I said, don't be a hater of Bitcoin because you missed out. After all, we're still loading the boat. What bothers me is he talks about it past tense as if it's over. And he also numerous times said things like, we'll never get past 100K. We'll never get past. It keeps happening. And he refuses to reconsider it. And it's like he's made this into who he is, and new data doesn't fix it. I have a major problem with that, with anybody that's investing. It's a great way to lose money. Also, real quickly, so Alejandro had a question that's a pretty good one, I think. He said, Jesse, why is Caleb Franzen against Bitcoin miners and betting on MicroStrategy? I remember a year ago he believed in the miners, but it seems he changed his view. I would appreciate it if you know the answer. He seems to have influence on X regarding this matter. I want to buy miners at these prices, but I want to know that before buying. So I posted about this a little bit yesterday. So there's some things to realize. One, MicroStrategy has been by far been the better opportunity. If you would have ignored me about miners, ignored Caleb about miners, if you would have just went all in on MicroStrategy, you'd be up once it hit the peak yesterday at the top, the tippity top, you were close to 4,000% in gains. That's sick. 40x. That was by far the best bet. And if you did like MSTX, after this thing became available, you would have multiplied those even more, and it would have just been stupid gains. So hindsight is always 20/20. Hindsight tells us that's what we should have done, right? So we should remember that. We should factor that into our thesis for any future sessions. And he's right, kind of. MicroStrategy is an amazing play that's going to fill all the coffers. It's wonderful because it's locking in Bitcoin. It's pulling in more and more at a more aggressive pace all the time. And again, Michael Saylor bought half a year's new supply of Bitcoin in 2 weeks. And then you have, like yesterday, I think the miners bought over 10,000 something Bitcoin. So they bought like 20 days, 25 days of supply in a day. So we've got OTC, and people, if you don't know what this is, it's over the counter. It's basically like an exchange like Coinbase will be like, hey, talk to your buddies that have all these big allotments. Tell them we'll buy this much Bitcoin at this much of an additional premium over the spot price if they sell it to us in bulk. And the big whales that have been doing this stuff forever, they're sitting at 100K. Like, they're pretty happy. They're like, I should nibble some off and go buy that yacht, because that's the stage they're at. And so you'll have periods of time where you'll see that even though there's just this crazy influx of capital, again, the gold ETFs as a whole will be passed by Bitcoin soon enough. The IBIT or BlackRock Bitcoin ETF is already bigger than their gold ETF. So like you're seeing just this massive capital flow that's very noticeable everywhere you look. And then if you subscribe to James Invest Answers, he posts every once in a while what the OTC desks are looking like for supply, and it's going down all the time. So I would just, I'll say this. So we know that there's this multiplier that's going to bring us to the upside. We know that MicroStrategy, Mara, who was it? BitDeer, another Bitcoin miner that looks like they're going to deploy that same kind of convertible bond strategy, that these things are just sucking up Bitcoin. We know MicroStrategy isn't getting rid of it. We know most of the ETFs will hold it too because that's the way they are. Where does OTC Desk get their supply? I think I answered that for you. Hopefully you understood it. But yeah, so here's my thesis. My thesis is I think the miners can actually outperform MicroStrategy in the second half. And I say this because when we look at MicroStrategy in the last cycle, we see that it topped out around February, into January, beginning of February. Mara didn't top out until like 4 or 5 months later. So it had a real huge second leg, and there's a lot of other miners that followed that same path. So my argument would be, how about CleanSpark? I think CleanSpark's going to do great. That's kind of where I'm getting. So my argument would be that Bitcoin miners are going to receive the inflows of the overflow of MicroStrategy and everything else. And so I think they'll start to outperform later. So I'm still sticking with I think they'll outperform later, but I'm also having to think and go, okay, I should have more exposure to MSTX. And I've been doing that pretty good, right? Like I bought, if you look down way at the bottom graph, I bought MicroStrategy right over here. I bought it, down here, and I was telling people to buy it down here. I owned it at $15. There's been some splitting, I think, that occurred since then, but whatever. I owned it way down here, and I had options. I made a lot of money. It's one of the reasons I made 600% in 2023. It's been a great play. I just thought it would start to expire, and admittedly, I didn't listen to the last conference call with MicroStrategy. I forget what other conference call was going on, but I was like, oh, the MicroStrategy one's boring. We'll skip it. I wish I would have watched it because I think I would have probably bought more MicroStrategy right away because the narrative, not just narrative, but the way that Michael Saylor articulates his strategy and the numbers that he puts behind it just keep getting better and more easily understood. And I think a bunch of people on Wall Street are starting to get it. So here's what I see. I see like what Rex Finance said. I see that there are short pressure where people are going long these bonds on MicroStrategy. It's a really good deal for them when you look at the mechanics. Watch Rex's 55,000 view video for that from a couple of days ago where he's talking about it. It's the biggest video ever. So I think that it behooves them to buy these bonds. They're probably going to start picking them up from Mara. They'll probably start picking them up from BitDeer. I don't know, though. With BitDeer, it's more speculative. So, again, the easy, clearest signal is going to be MicroStrategy. But I think Bitcoin miners, if they want to survive, they need to follow this too. I believe that the management behind CleanSpark is brilliant and one of the best managed Bitcoin miners on the planet. And I think that if they're smart, which I think they are, I think Matthew Schultz is a really brilliant guy. I think they'll deploy the same strategy and they'll make an announcement on it, and they'll benefit too. And I think all the miners are going to have to go there. Again, there's corporations that are deploying Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, cities, states, countries. They're all going to be doing it, and we're going to be doing it with Bitcoin miners. Why the fuck wouldn't we be deploying? Again, this kind of strategy where it's like, okay, we should start holding more Bitcoin. I think all of them are figuring that out. I've been saying that the whole fucking time. Have I? Can anybody attest in chat? Have I been saying that the best miners are ones that hold Bitcoin because the asset appreciates? Like they build up their Bitcoin stock at the bottom. And I actually think miners are different. I think they should be selling when they think Bitcoin is top. They should be selling that Bitcoin and increasing their cash position But I think between you do this convertible bond strategy, you do that with timing, because they should be, if you're not good at timing the market as a Bitcoin miner, I don't think you'll live. But I think that, and again, miners, it's a shitty business. It's a really shitty business. There are only short periods of time, like quarters, where you'll look at their finances and be like, whoa, this could really be turning into something. And it looks like it's just ramping up and going to the moon. And so that's the times where you pull in the majority of Wall Street. Now, that could be harder to do next cycle, right? Because these accountants that value these things, and these analysts are getting smarter and smarter and smarter. So my friend, Bob Burnett, he's the previous chief technical officer of Gateway Computers back in the day, the little cow-spotted ones for people that are old like me. And he runs a private Bitcoin mining company. He's actually got it in a few different countries and here in the United States. And I think he's got a location in El Salvador, but don't quote me on that. I haven't talked to him in a while. I haven't seen him in a bit. Physically, but he's the nicest person I've ever met. He believes that the Bitcoin miners are going to be more of a commoditized business. I agree with that. I agree they're a shitty business, but I think if they employ this, Bitcoin bond conversion strategy, I think that can lessen the blow a lot. I think the big dogs will survive. I think the small ones will die off. I think it's a tough business. I think this MicroStrategy play is great, so I can't argue with Caleb about that. I think he was more right than me historically, because he flipped a while ago, and so he caught the light quicker than I did, I think. I thought it was a great strategy, but I just didn't realize how great. It's really fucking amazing. That said, it will roll over in a bear market, and the stock will be brutal to hold. So we need to remember a couple of things. One, it will peak earlier than the Bitcoin miners. I strongly believe that. And so you don't want to be like holding large amounts of like the leverage play, maybe 3 to 6, like after 6 months, maybe 4 months from now, 5 months. You probably don't want to be doing MSTX or MSTU. Okay. And those can vary. They're not always perfectly aligned. There's some float in there where volumes are weird, and you could see it not be a direct 2x correlation to the underlying. That's just how markets work. But for now, I'm going to ride that train. I'm going to take that. And if we drop a bunch on MSTX, MSTU today, great. I will continue to load the boat so that I can make shit tons of money. Because I'd take that 300-400% flip over the next couple of months. I'll take that in a heartbeat. I'd love it. I'm rooting for it. Big King said, I really hope MSTX sinks like a ship so I can smash the buy. Yeah, no, it's the same here. I'm basically under the. It's like, oh, I lost $100,000 on this. Sweet. Where can I get another $100,000 to put into it? That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. But again, I think Bitcoin miners though. Again, there's this overflow, and people aren't thinking about this, but even just in the last quarter, all these earnings reports, the earnings reports we're going to get from CleanSpark next week are from a quarter where the price was like, at the end of the quarter, I think like 61, 62,000. Okay? It's like 100 now. It's like 100. What happens if it's 150 by next quarter? The numbers are going to look dramatically better for the miners if they're going from 62 to 150K. I can tell you that. Because as I said yesterday in one of my posts, the difficulty since that time, since the end of that quarter, has went up by 22%, but the price had went up by 54, probably now 55. So you're seeing a much greater acceleration on price. And plus, a lot of the guys got their big hash out there. There's still going to be more. There's still going to be a lot of hash coming online. So you'll still see that growing too. But if let's say 3 months have passed and you've got a 40% increase in hash rate over that time, again, some miners will turn things off too. I don't think we've seen a lot of that, but you're going to start seeing some miners that have inefficient ones dropping off, lowering the hash. So you get like this consolidation period in the hash. But I think we could see a 40% increase in hash, but we could have seen 150% increase in price. 200% maybe, by the end of Q1. So I think that those numbers will help out miners significantly on what their balance sheets look like, and what their earnings look like. So I'm more excited about that. And yeah, earnings 12, is it 12, 13? Is that when CleanSpark is? Is it really out that far? 2.5 weeks, whatever. But my whole point is, again, so hopefully they announce that they're doing some kind of convertible debt offering with the bonds before that. That would be most ideal, I think. But I actually hope, again, today that we drop to the 934 people that are here. I really appreciate you for being here. If you're getting any value out of this, if you could hit the like, it's greatly appreciated. Share it with your friends, whatever. All right, let's keep moving. So let's talk about Bitcoin more.
One thing you
Besides
wish you knew when you were younger, like
Natalie
you wish
Brunell
that
being way too good looking. Let's move on. Don't tell my wife. I'm kidding. She wouldn't watch this anyway, so we're safe. It's a great thing I have a YouTube channel because my wife got so fucking tired of hearing me talk about Bitcoin and investments all day. You could just see the glossy, like glassy-eyed look in her face. Every time I'd bring it up, she's like, oh God, this is going to be an hour. I subject you guys to that now, and I feel like it's more appreciated. So this is working out. But let's go to Dennis Porter, my man, that the guy that is literally the person in the political field pushing Bitcoin forward the most outside of Cynthia Loomis. These people are great. But it says, breaking, I have officially been asked to speak in Texas. Yeah, so this actually already happened. This is a little...
But he kind of knew. And
I don't know why the bookmarks sometimes show... But anyway, he did speak. And it was awesome. And it sounds like, from what I'm hearing, there's a really good chance that we see an executive order pushing the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. Day one, potentially. And if you didn't know it, bye-bye Gary Gensler. He's also, what was it, Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. If you ever watched The Simpsons, it looks just like him. Uncanny. I hate how this keeps dropping. I really got to fix my monitor situation. It's on the list with so many other things. But yeah, so that's awesome. We got rid of that fucker. He's going to resign on day one. Tony Edward, Bitcoin blasted past. Yeah, that's great. That's from the 20th. Anyway, Solana, a new all-time high. I love this. I love this so much. Price target on Solana. I haven't really talked about it recently, but let's pull it up real quick. We could look at that chart. And I think, guys, don't get worried about this. This 100K is just a normal level. We've got a big sell wall in front of us. It will disappear. And when it does, our next target, we've got some other resistances technically just for shorter term moves right around here. Again, if you just look at the measured move down here, we can kind of do this, right? So let's take this from our breakout and let's put it up to where we got. I'm not going to include the wick, but you could. So we could have something like this range in here before we really make our final leap. So there will be little tiny bumps in the road. But once we break past 100, I think it's literally up into this 110, 115 range. And then maybe some consolidation before we go up to 150. And I think 150 by spring. So I'm really excited. I know you don't like XRP, but it ripped on the Gensler news. I'm sure it did. I don't like XRP. It's a dead coin. If you look at James's dead coin list, you'll see that. I don't know if I have that in front. He did do a video yesterday, really good one. I would check it out. But it references the fact that like XRP is a dead chain, and it literally can't even beat its previous all-time highs, let alone keep up with Bitcoin. So why would you want to own that? I wouldn't. But yeah, let's pull up Solana real quick. Take a look here. Super fast. How are we doing a time of 750? You know what I haven't done yet? We should have some economic data. We're going to, right after this, guys, we're going to jump over to it, okay? Hey, mate, did you see SEC imposed Rule 201 on CleanSpark? What is Rule 201, and is this a post? Here, let me hop over. You guys are all getting me all over the place today. So real quickly, CleanSpark, we hit some resistance around 285. Again, guys, if you have the Discord, there's literally a CleanSpark channel. This should be in it. Hopefully, oh my God, I haven't really done the altcoins yet, so maybe I have not done that. This has to be on my list this weekend. I did like 40 or 50 other things, requests, but I don't know if I did all of these. No, Solana's there. Let me see. Right up here, the pinned post. Yeah. So you could go up into here. Oh, wait. Oh, Matthew did it. The architect. You loaded my fucking chart in here, bro? You did this just on your own. I love you. I'm already married, but thank you. You're amazing. Wow. I love that, guys. This is the best. I'm biased. And I don't go to a lot of Discord, so just put that in mind. But I think this is the best Discord out there, honestly, because I've got people that I don't pay who are talking about editing my videos, who are literally filling in the gaps of the things that I haven't gotten to. How fucking cool is that? I mean, seriously. But I'll get the rest of those loaded. Yeah, thank you, dude. You're a stud, man. Seriously, like, that's fucking awesome. That is insanely awesome. So yeah, so Solana, I think it's doing good. I think it's if you want to see it, go to the Discord. You can see where the fib resistance levels are. These are going to be very accurate. I could still see us hitting 282 pretty soon, and then maybe finding some resistance there. The measured move, though, is stupid. It's retarded. It's high. Like, technically, you could say, I don't know. It depends. It might just be here. It depends on how you gauge it. But over a longer time frame, I mean, this is really what we're trying to do here, guys. This is the longer view of what we're trying to accomplish right now with Solana. Now, there are people that have higher numbers, but this is a pretty big market cap already. So keep that in mind. It's 121 billion is what TradingView is saying right now. And if it goes up 500%, or I'm sorry, what is this measured move? If it goes up 650%, it's going to be a lot bigger. Okay? So, but I do think this can happen. I actually think that Solana will be the big... It'll be the strong mover as far as shitcoins go. It will outpace the rest. Thoughts on Iron lawsuit? Is this a new one? Are we talking about new stuff here, guys? What was the other thing? SEC ruling. Let me see if I can find what you guys are talking about real quick here. I got a lot of other news-related stuff that we need to go over too, but I'll try and look here. Did Iron just get a new lawsuit? Can you tell me? Yeah, Mom. What's up, buddy? Hopefully this is a good thing for CleanSpark tomorrow. What are we looking at? Short availability. Expired. Okay, yeah. Okay, nothing there. Bouncing off. Here's my latest CleanSpark thingy. I don't see... If you have any news-related events, guys, on X, you can post them in here in the chat if you're in the X stream. Otherwise, tell me, like, who posted it, maybe, like the handle of the person that posted it, and I can look that stuff up. Let's hop over, though, because we've been very Bitcoin-centric today, which is good. I mean, that's where I like it right now, at least. This is the time where we're going to... I told you in the past, there's going to be times where we switch back and forth to whatever is the most important market that we need to talk about. So today, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. At 8:45... So about 15 minutes after market open, about 35 minutes away from market open right now, about 15 minutes after that, we'll get S&P Global Composite Manufacturing and Services. We'll get Michigan Consumer Sentiment. We'll get the 5-year inflation expectations, current conditions, and future, the final inflation expectations. These are good metrics. It's not crazy stuff, though, but it's fascinating. And then today, later in the day, we get Argentinian economic activity. I love all that. But that's basically it. And then next week starts off pretty light. We have Chicago Fed, manufacturing sales for Canada, Dallas Fed for the U.S. We don't have a lot on. So usually the days where data points really pick up are Wednesday through Friday, just for anybody who doesn't know. But what I want to glance at real quick while we're waiting here, I want to jump over and I want to look at Mexico, because we're trying to keep track of our neighbors, and then other big economies are ones that I'm tracking. So like Argentina, Hong Kong, China, India, like all these things are right at the top of my list, right? Let me just make sure I have them all on here too. I don't want to miss. Is India? India isn't on here. I was going to say there's got to be more than that. But yeah, Argentina, Canada, China, Hong Kong, India, Mexico, and the United States are the main ones I'm focusing on. I might pull up UK just so I can shit on it every once in a while, just for fun. Sorry if you live in the UK. You can always move here. Trump got elected. So let's look over here. So let's look. Hey, perfect timing. Let's check some of these other countries and see how they're doing, okay? Let's just scan through this stuff real quickly. So we got retail sales in Great Britain, 2.4%. They were expected to be consensus of 3.4 and then forecast of 3.2. So we're seeing retail sales kind of falling off in the UK. But again, they've been bouncy for a while, similar to the United States, but just showing weakness. I don't think we'll have that same problem here. I think that's more, a UK-based thing that we're looking at. They've got ex-fuel, which was 2%. So again, if you remove fuel as a factor, it sucks even more. All right, so let's go. S&P Global Manufacturing PMI is 48.6. This is for Great Britain again. Well, let's just look at the composite. 49.9, expected 51.8, forecast 52. So Great Britain, we can just agree sucks, right? Keir Starmer is a good representation of what's going on with their economy right now. Once we get that fucker out, we're going to be great. Manufacturing PMI flash, 48.6. Again, consensus 50, forecast 49.8. These are not great numbers. Services, 50. Again, not great. Everything sucks. Everything sucks. But let's just look at the composite, and it's falling off a cliff. I think it's going to break down. It's going to be in contraction territory across the board really soon. These are some of the lowest levels that the UK has experienced, going all the way back. The composite only goes to 2021. That's kind of weird. I don't know if there's a better metric. I'll check that stuff more later. But foreign exchange reserves for India, let's see here. What are they doing? They're going down. Held by Reserve Bank of India, sank to $658 billion as November 15th, the lowest level since July, making the 7th consecutive decline since the record high in September. The drop was owed to an outflow of foreign capital as heightened geopolitical tensions in the Middle East and investors. No, that's not true. It ain't any of this shit. You know what it is? I mean, it's definitely issues with China, geopolitical, whatever. That's just noise. What it is everybody's coming to the U.S. Everybody's coming to the U.S. That's why the capital's slowing, just in case you wondered. And also, look at the capital flows in here, too. Like, they're huge. They were huge for a while. So they're just taking a breather. That's fine. Mexico, GDP growth rate, 1.6%, 0.1% better than forecast. That's good. We want to see things that are better than forecast, especially to our neighbor to the south. Albeit, I don't know if some of Trump's policies are going to help them out a lot. We'll see how that goes. Economic activity, 0.3%. That was lower than expected. We wanted 0.5. So seeing some weakness there. What does it say here? Following. Let me just do this. I want to see. Yeah, I don't want to read any of this. So I'm a little lazy. So we're just going to let somebody else do it while I drink some coffee.
It was the slowest pace of expansion in the current 3-month growth sequence, as output slowed down for services 0.7% versus 1.5%, and continued to contract for the industrial sector 0.4%, the same rate as in August, hampered by mining minus 4.5% versus minus 3.1%, and manufacturing minus 2.3% versus minus 2.2%. Conversely, agricultural activity saw a rebound 1.2% versus minus 2.1%. On a seasonally adjusted monthly basis, Mexican economic activity increased by 0.2% in September, following a revised 0.2% fall in August and surpassing market estimates.
I don't know if I got a lot from that. If you guys noticed any key points, let me know. And some of this I'll try and scrape ahead of time just where I can really highlight the key things. I try to roll through this quick. Some people talk about this shit forever. I don't know that there's a point. Again, it's all just about pattern recognition. Mexico mid-month core inflation rate is stupid low, 3.58%. This is interesting because, I should say this. It's close. It's definitely in the lower end. It's lower than what Mexico was seeing for a while, going all the way back to 2017 and to 2016. So their inflation is really non-existent. Isn't that interesting? And that was the mid-month core inflation at 3.58%. It looks like the number came in lower too, just for the standard inflation rate. That is higher than some of the historical trends that we were seeing before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we were like at 2.93%. So we're still a little higher there, but the core is the real, probably more valuable number, and it looks pretty good. Housing price index in Canada. Housing prices are so expensive in Canada. I'll get back to comments here in a second, but it's good to see these rolling over. Again, they've had some negative pricing and just briefly went into positive territory. So these are some of the worst real estate drops that we've seen since 2008. Really, it's the worst since 2008. And most of this happened between mid-2023 up until about, the beginning of this year. And then we went a little bit into positive or flat territory, and now we're starting to roll over again. I would expect that rollover to continue in Canada. I think they're gonna see downward price pressure just because of their economy, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on them, a lot of pressure on Trudeau. Retail sales ex autos, we've got 0.9%. So retail sales ex autos for Canada were actually pretty impressive when you take the auto out. The consensus was 0.5. Forecast was -2. So retail sales are actually looking stronger than expected in this country, which was nice because they look like they were rolling over. If we just look at a smaller time frame here, 5 years is probably better. You can see how it was kind of going negative, but now it looks like it's popping a little bit. So we like to see that heading into the end of the year. If we don't subtract autos, we see 0.8%. Forecast was 0.9, so it's a little bit weaker. So autos are a bigger part of that. Weird. I don't know. I'd have to look at the breakdown to get a better understanding of it. So that's it for now. And then we'll go into this other stuff come a little bit after the bell. We got 28 minutes until the bell, guys. Let's look real quickly here and see what comments are looking like. And again, I've got a bunch more. I had a bunch more. We should go in here and look at more charts. There's so much to talk about on this front. If you guys have additional news, let me know. If there's anything I missed that was really important, say that too. Everything takes a break, but SoFi. Is SoFi up? Here, let's take a look here real quick. Let's look at pre-market. Yeah, banking sector as a whole, guys. If we just kind of jump over here too to the stock heat map, it's really a banking sector comeback that we're talking about. You can see how they did yesterday. Let's look at this morning. And again, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, none of those are really doing good yesterday. And neither did Tesla. So the Magnificent Seven was not magnificent yesterday. But I was right. NVIDIA did go up a little bit, which is cool. It's good to see. It's good to see it maintaining strength. We want that. Today, it's losing some of that strength, but the market is remarkably flat. Super boring today. That's great. Again, Bitcoin's taken a breather today, but it's been the story recently, guys. Sal said, Jesse, look at MSTR stock. It's up a lot pre-market. Is it really? Did something change? Let's see here real quick. Mara's down. It's not up a lot pre-market. It's down 0.26%. So I don't know what you're looking at, bro. But anyway, all right, let's keep going. So let's hop over here. I want to get into some of this. What is this one? Oh, I need to figure out. I don't think I'm using Seeking Alpha. I checked it out. I don't know. I think I still have a free subscription. It's just one of those things, man. There's only so much time in the day, and trying to figure out where you're going to get value is an important part of that experience. So let's go through a number of things here real quick. Let's go through Bitcoin first. We're going to go through all the news-related things. MicroStrategy was doing wild swings every second. Crazy. There's probably pre-market has weirdness with volumes too. And then different, like you could be looking at Hood and that could be doing different things than what you're seeing just from arbitrage, like we were talking about briefly earlier, from different exchanges. That can occur too. Somebody doing an abnormally large buy. It could be a sign of things to come today, though. I actually think today is going to be good. Again, Tom Lee, guys. I love his service. If you guys don't subscribe to it, you should. He's got some great stuff in here. He gives video updates. Here, I'll just show some of it. I don't want to show this all the time, but he thinks we're going to have a Thanksgiving rally. You can see that by the turkey. He gave a bunch of reasons why. He's thinking 6,100. Peter Brandt talking about stuff. We got flows, U.S. equity flows. We got margin debt. We got sentiment. Sentiment actually is very interesting. It's been coming down. People are still very bearish. When people are sidelined, they get very interested in being bearish. You're talking about the Trump put, just all the good stuff, guys. There's a lot of good stuff in here. I think Tom Lee does a great job breaking it down. They give lots of research too. Again, I got a referral code. I should probably put it somewhere. But lowers the amount that I have to pay. But if you just look here, and you can look by tickers too to see what they have, but they do a lot of research. Like Friday, there was a post here at 9:02. There is the first word. This is more from Tom Lee. I haven't even looked at it. And so just Friday alone, they have 3 posts, and then Thursday, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5. You can expect during a week, you can expect maybe 3 or 4 posts a day with what I believe to be pretty good insights. And again, I subscribe to the crypto and the macro. But I think this is one of the best pay programs out there, I think. For the price, I wouldn't be paying that price for a lot of other people. Anyway, keep going. So we looked at this. Lots of room to go. We looked at this. And we talked about strategic reserve. We talked about Gary going away. We talked about Sol hitting a new all-time high. We got more here, too. Binance founder CZ says nations will print money to buy Bitcoin, creating their strategic Bitcoin reserves. I've been saying this, but that's what's going to happen. That's what can save us too. We're the world reserve currency and can print money while enriching our country through Bitcoin adoption. I've been preaching this for years. It doesn't need to be doom and gloom. We can create a more sustainable path. There's obviously other factors that go in with that too, like Doge and President Trump and all this stuff. I think it's all really positive. Technology is looking great. Back to Solana, their monthly DEX volumes exceeded $100 billion for the first time. This is signal. This is signal, guys. There's a lot of money pumping into Solana. Yeah, you better understand that. And then again, we've got, this was from yesterday, from the day or so ago. There were like a couple of companies that are doing the Bitcoin reserve thing. These are some metrics from James, Invest Answers. Make sure you follow him. Third biggest Bitcoin ETF day ever was yesterday. Again, 20 days of supply consumed, kind of a big deal. Render OG, thank you for being a member for a month. He said for potential for render 150,000 BTC off your charts. Yeah, it could go up a lot. And again, check out the Render channel in the Discord, guys. There's a lot of good information in that. Render's done a good job of selling that one to me. I really like it. Mr. Bear Hewitt, again, I love following this guy. Does good charting. He's like in his 20s too. But the bullish pennant, I think, is definitely breaking out. And he just shows levels where it can go to. The .618 on his is closer to 107, 108 range. Again, it's going to be somewhere probably between like 105 and 115 where we pause. I love it. He does great charting. Also, Monster Invest Answer said Monster Day for Bitcoin ETFs, IBIT and FBTC had a huge day. Again, just showing the trend and how much we're seeing for inflows. It's gotten really good lately. Vivek said Texas legislature just says I want Texas to have a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Again, that's after meeting with this guy. Is this this is the likely next chairman of financial services who is pro Bitcoin as well. But he probably met with them at that conference. I'm trying to see if there's any other new ones here. Again, biggest monthly candle ever, and by dollar amount in Bitcoin's history. That's what we're looking for this month. And we got the Solana ETF in case you missed it. There's a bunch of other stuff, but let's move on. Want to go to U.S. economy? We're just going to roll down the list here, guys, and I'll try and get back to chat for a little bit. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Again, Caleb posted. I like and respect Caleb. I think he's right. I think some things he can be wrong about. I think he will be proven wrong in the second half about the miners. But again, so far he's been spot on, and I've been wrong about the miners. So I won't give him too much shit for it until I can. But the U.S. dollar index, it says DXY is breaking out. In fact, it's making a new 52-week high for the first time since 2022. Again, that's kind of important to track, right? We know normally that if the U.S. dollar gets too strong, it can hurt markets, especially companies that trade overseas. So it can be one of those things where it creates weakness. I actually don't think it's going to. I'm trying to develop. I need to develop like a good thesis with it where I can explain it and I don't sound retarded. But I have been listening to a number of people, and I'm trying to flesh out my thoughts in my head. But I do believe that what Caleb is saying in here is true. So he said it's been hitting the 52-week high. I don't think it's irrelevant. Again, we should pay attention to it. We know it can crush markets historically. And he said, but in fact, we should be paying close attention, particularly because risk assets are still performing well in this environment. I've drawn a measured move extension shown in blue, which could suggest that the highs are in, but I don't feel comfortable making that statement right here, right now. Could this be a headwind for risk assets? It could, yes. But so far, it hasn't been. In fact, equities, Bitcoin, and gold have all performed well in 2024, in spite of the dollar being up 6.1% year to date, and generally positive year to date all year. That's because we're seeing so much in the way of capital flows into Western markets, not just the dollar. That's my take, or at least a simple version of it. He said, so we should be mindful that there could be a higher DXY level that will be a proverbial straw that broke the camel's back, but I don't know what that level is. And he's right. There's other pressures that get created, right? If we look at the Chinese yen, let's see what a strong dollar is doing. It's down a little bit today against the yen. We like that. It keeps the Japanese yen carry trade from unwinding. I've got that level up here, but if we saw, and it's probably important, I should probably just draw it to here. If we saw us breaking above this level, bad. And you can see where I drew this over here. Like, hey, we could go this way or we could go this way. We've been going up. So if the dollar gets too strong against the yen, that can be problematic. There's reasons to be concerned. In December, we're going to figure out the rate, whether or not they raise rates in the future in Japan. We'll be watching that closely. But if we look at that Chinese or the U.S. dollar against the Chinese yuan, that's where you're starting to see what I believe will be pressure soon. We get that 734 range of the dollar versus the yuan, and you're going to see the yuan depreciate dramatically. Very important to understand that that's going to be very painful for China, but it doesn't necessarily have to be painful for the rest of the world. So there are things to consider, okay? There are things to consider and think about. Let's finish the rest of what he says. And he said, my belief is and has been that asset prices will continue to perform well as the dollar rises in this environment because it's rising for the right reasons, in my view. I wish you would list those reasons. But again, I do think that at least one thing that we know is that we've got a really good, strong economy. We've got a lot of people that are betting on America again, and American exceptionalism with Trump coming into power. And they're betting on Elon, not just Trump. They're betting on Vivek. They're betting on J.D. Vance. They're betting on all these brilliant Robert F. Kennedy, Shanahan, all these brilliant people that are going to make government much more efficient, first principles based, and just really cut out the fat. And I think that's going to be huge. And I think that's some of the good reasons that he was talking about. But he said, whether the dollar rises or falls, I think asset prices will perform well. Maybe I'll be wrong, but so far the statement has been correct. Lock in. I agree. Just wanted to put some flesh around it. Let's see this one. This is just, again, Finfluential. They're talking about November, December, and January are historically the best 3 months. So I do want to say something, though. And I talked about this a little bit. I don't remember if I said it on here, but I talked to my friend about it, George, yesterday. He's a professor at a university, but he likes economics and like investing, and so we have chats that are long and thoughtful. But so there's things to think about. So Bitcoin, Tesla, PayPal. There's a bunch of companies that have been performing this year that haven't performed historically. Okay, and what you have to think about is what happens at the ending of the year and the beginning of the year that could impact them. Well, if you have really good companies that have done well, if you have the Bitcoins, the MicroStrategies, you don't sell heading into the end of the year. Why don't you sell? You don't sell because you don't want a tax obligation right away for this next year that you have to pay in April, right? You don't want to create a tax obligation that you have to pay in April, especially if you think next year is going to be a great year for equities and Bitcoin and investments like it, right? So you don't want to sell that because you don't want to have to take money that you could keep in the investment world and put it into taxes right away. So for things that have done really well, like the Teslas, the Bitcoins, the PayPals, the MicroStrategy, all these things, there's probably less likely sell pressure at the end of the year and more likely sell pressure the beginning of next year. Now, if you have IRAs like I do that you actively trade in, that should tell you that you should look at the fact that after the presidential election, the market goes up. This part of the cycle with Bitcoin, the market goes up. Seasonality because of Turkey Day and so many other things, market goes up. And then all the other multipliers, market goes up. So you should be a bias, I believe, right now, even though in some ways, if you look, we're kind of overextended on the upside. There's definitely arguments there. I don't think they're valid. I think your bias should be towards the upside. I agree with Tom Lee 100% about that because everything tells us that it should be. But think about that. Think about tax loss harvesting. That'll happen for things that have underperformed and sucked. So people will create even more downside pressure in those, and they might buy into the rally and these other things that have done well heading into the end of the year. Now, could we see price pressure on Bitcoin, Tesla, all these things at the beginning? I mean, most likely, right? There could be things where it still runs for a little bit, but then people are like, damn, I should sell right now because then I don't really have to worry about the taxes for a while. Like there's some cases where that is different. But for the most part, people don't have to worry about the tax obligation later, and they can sell out. So again, that's just my thought. I think we're going up into the end of the year. That could stop sooner than later because we've just gone up too much. I'll try and keep you abreast of my thoughts. This is Cynthia Loomis. She was talking about a great American set to become Secretary of Commerce. He did get that position, right? Yeah, he did. I love him. I think we already listened to him, though. This is from the 19th. So we'll skip it. Yeah, okay. So again, in just showing that we have rallies late into the end of the year. So this is like the Turkey Day rally. I think that's it for the U.S. economy. We have 14 minutes until the bell. If there's anything coming up that's interesting on CNBC, please let me know, guys. Otherwise, I'm going to look at a few comments here real quick. We'll just take a super quick breather before we jump into other stuff. I think we'll probably, I don't know. What else do you guys want to talk about? I've got Tesla still, the UK, Robinhood, MicroStrategy. Blah, blah, blah. I feel like we've done a lot already. Jesse, did you get out of your MSTU position? I feel like some of you guys aren't subscribed to X or Discord, because that answer would be yes and no. So I did get out of it a couple of days ago, was it? Was it 2 days ago or 36 hours? I don't know. I got out of it near the peak, and then I bought, or actually a day before the peak, and then I bought a bunch of Mara that went up a lot, like 30% or something in a short period of time. And then I sold that Mara, and then I bought a shit ton of MSTX. I was switching to MSTX because I thought the price action was trading better on it, and it had higher volumes. But I don't know if that's still the case today. But I do have like a little less than $600,000 in 2X funds for MicroStrategy right now, just to give you some idea. So I'm pretty leveraged in. I would like to get that to $1 million, though. So if I get an opportunity to jump another $500,000 into it today or Monday or something, because it got down to my 300 daily gap target on MSTR, then great. I'll love that. And guys, when we talk about like MSTX, MSTU, I'm always going to talk about it as MSTR. I'm never going to give you a price in MSTX or MSTU. I'm always going to talk about MSTR, and then you'll have to do the math on those, okay? Because I always talk about the underlying. It's how you don't use the multiplier to figure out price targets or to figure out, Fibonacci and where it's going to hit. It's .618. You just don't do that. Your MSTR is 600K to right, or did you get? No, I have about. I'll check. I was going to try and do it today. I'll do it over the weekend for sure. But no, I'm sitting at about right now all in maybe 800,000 with MicroStrategy between the. Yeah, probably something like that. Maybe 750 to 800. I think right now with MicroStrategy, if I include MSTR and MSTX. There's only like 306 here, but I've told you guys before, I've got a ton of accounts. I'm going to have even more because I'm trying to get money out of this account. So this account will get smaller and smaller because I've got 4 million in it, and I don't like having really large amounts in one account because you're over the SPIC insurance limits for the exchange. If it fails, you get fucked. I don't dig that. So I'll probably be moving a bunch. Sir, I want to thank you. I feed a lot of poor kids back home because of the calls you give us. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it, my friend. Are these your kids, or are these just like you doing philanthropic for others? Because I love that. Well, either way, I love it, right? We got to take care of our kids. You'll love this, Jesse. Sorkin trying to wrap the head around the new Bitcoin-backed mortgage product. Oh, I saw that earlier. You know what? We probably should look at that. That was a really good conversation. I've got a good feed on it too. Let me hop over here real quick. Trump's Treasury shortlist. We'll see where that goes. When you feel like it, can you show us how you draw a fib on 2 or 3 stocks? Thank you for all I do. I did like a trading view setup video a while ago where I showed that. But yeah, I can do that more here in the future. I need to get eventually, and I don't know, Matthew, the architect in Discord, was talking about having somebody maybe help with some editing on videos too. I definitely have a lot of content. I don't have time to edit. I'm paying like this Descript service, maybe like $100 and something a month, but I'm barely using it. I don't know. I need to figure out something to take some of the content I develop and get it categorized better so that it's easier for you guys to consume. Because I know some people don't want to do a 2.5 hour live stream in the morning every day, Monday through Friday. It's just not the easiest for them. So hopefully the content gets better in the future as far as divvying it up. But let me see here real quick. I want to see. Why is it doing this? Let me go over here. I do want to watch that video, though, talking about mortgage-backed securities. Oh, hey, Kane just made a comment. Yeah, hey, a member for 9 months. Thanks, man. Feels so sad flipping CLSK for MSTU. Yeah, I haven't done that. I've still got all my CleanSpark. But I know some people are doing it, and that's totally up to you guys. Again, I think I still think it's going to do well. I got faith in the management. I could be wrong. You can always be wrong. There is a reason, guys. There is a reason that I've diversified, right? Like CleanSpark, even now, is 10% of my portfolio, maybe. And that's my largest Bitcoin mining position. So I mean, if you don't consider MSTR a Bitcoin miner, otherwise MSTR is winning right now. But I haven't sold any of it. All I've done is add to it. All I've done is add. Jesse, did you stop the market in videos altogether? Been missing you? Yeah, I have. I just don't have time, J-Duff. And I want to spend that time being right. I think that's the most value I can give to people. I don't want to do a bunch of videos. I don't want to be like Meet Kevin and be like, hey guys, if you're in this, put a 30% stop loss, and then everybody gets hit with their 30% stop loss and gets booted from their MSTX play because he doesn't know technically what he's doing. Like, I don't want to be that guy who's giving shitty advice because I'm busy making videos. I don't make money off of videos. I would like the videos that I do make to be efficient for your time and benefit you guys. And if I'm not directionally right about the macro economics of the world and the geopolitics of the world and what's going on in the treasury and bond markets and commodities all around the world and what's happening, for all the economic data in the major countries in the world, if I can't get these things right, I'm going to give you shitty direction. So not that this is financial advice in any way, because I'm a high school dropout in a basement. So if you follow me for financial advice, I don't know. Right? Like there's financial advisors out there, guys. Meet Kevin is a financial advisor. If you want somebody who's accredited and brilliant, go to Meet Kevin. He'll help you out. He'll help you redistribute your money. All right. Anyway, probably to somebody else's pocket, but this is my take. All right. Let me see here real quick. Rounds talking about future of education department. God, that's interesting. All right. Okay. So there's the full interview. It's 10 minutes. I don't know if I like the full one. Is fusing loans with Bitcoin. I'll probably skip over part of it, but I do want to show that video where Andrew Dorkin is trying to figure out how a mortgage and a mortgage and Bitcoin could be tied together. But this company's doing it, and I love that, dude. I love that we're using Bitcoin capital for refinancing mortgages. I think that's so exciting. This is a good interview, though, and so thank you for bringing it up. We should watch it. Perhaps wear a suit to be more credible. Yeah, I could do that. I'm wearing boxers, so I've got pants on. I feel like that's pretty credible. If I was running around here with my dick hanging out, then that would be something to worry about, guys. All right, here we go.
Very close to 100,000. Join us now, Andrew Hones, Newmarket Capital founder and CEO. And today, Newmarket is announcing Battery Finance. It's a Bitcoin-focused asset management platform.
I think if you are a high school dropout already, then you can listen and take this as financial advice. But I don't make the rules. I'm not accredited, so whatever.
Form that combines cryptocurrency and other assets. I won't say real assets, because that sounds funny, doesn't it? It's like
an alternative school graduate.
Something other than Bitcoin, like a real asset.
Me too, brother.
Tangible. How about
tangible. Let's call it tangible. And the first, you've got to explain this to us. The first time you're combining Bitcoin to actually make maybe loans, which, why don't you explain it? Because it takes some of the problem that you normally have with lending, which is inflation, I guess.
All right. Hey, guys, I got a tax question. I want to help the person with it real quick. They said, Alfredo said, do capital gains taxes have to be paid at the end of the year in a Roth account? I know it doesn't in an IRA. No. If it's a Roth IRA, all IRAs, you don't pay taxes until you withdraw. Ideally, you don't withdraw until the appropriate age so that you don't get a 10% penalty. But yeah, you don't pay on those. You don't pay taxes until you withdraw. It's not like short or long-term capital gains. There's nothing like that. Okay, and I'm talking to the United States. I don't know about all these other countries in the world, but that's how it works here. All right, let's keep going.
Actually, lessen the risk and volatility for fiduciaries running pension plans.
Yeah,
hard to believe Bitcoin could be a solution to pension fund management.
That's what we're thinking. Well, good morning, Joe, Becky, Andrew. I'm so pleased to be here. And I'm really excited to announce today on Squawk Box this loan that we've just completed. We combined a seasoned multifamily asset in Philadelphia, about 50 meters away from the First Bank of the United States, the one that Alexander Hamilton started. We combined that asset with around 20 Bitcoin. And we provided a loan to refinance the existing mortgage on the property, to provide the asset sponsor
true. That's another good point. So with a Roth IRA, theoretically, you actually can get, it's not a tax, but it's a penalty. If you withdraw your original contribution, and I think tax too, if with a Roth IRA, if you withdraw your original contribution, or I should say this, you can withdraw your original contribution and have no issues whatsoever. If you withdraw prematurely before the end of the time, I think you can get taxed on that as income, right? Am I right about that? You guys say, I don't know. Here's what I know. Don't withdraw from your Roth IRA. Don't until you absolutely need it, because of the fact that it's after tax dollars. It's the most beneficial to you. Because again, if tax rates are high at the end in an IRA, then you could have some shit happen, right? Like you could get a lot of taxes on you. So if there's anything that you're going to withdraw from early, withdraw from your long-term, like I've been holding it a year account, if you need to, or use like 0% offers on credit cards if you need something over a short term and it's not going to be a big issue. But try to avoid taking from your retirement accounts, and never take from a Roth account unless it's the original contributions only, which you will not suffer any penalty or anything like that, okay? No worries whatsoever with that kind of stuff. You could peel a little bit off and take it off if you need it, but otherwise, the fact that it's after tax is just a brilliant thing that saves you a ton of money. And you're right, we're getting close to the bell. We're only 2 minutes away, guys, so we're going to jump back over to our buddy here in a second. Real quickly, though, somebody had a question. We'll go to that super fast. They were asking on the Tesla chart what the horizontal lines were, and they wanted to know just a little bit more about it. I will answer that real quick. So, there's a couple things going on in the chart for people that aren't technicians. There's a shit ton going on in this chart. We won't talk about all of it. But these lines, the colored ones, they're a Fibonacci sequence trend. These are basically the stock colors. This is a trend-based extension. All that means is we think we already hit the bottom, and we want to see where it'll go next. So that's these. There are some other ones in here, though. If you look, there's this concept of volume peaks. So there's a lot on here. Sorry, this is one of my busier charts. But if you look over here, you see this red line right here. This thing on the right is called the visible range volume profile. And all it is, the volumes that you see down on the bottom normally, it's showing you at what point those volumes happen with the time frame that you're currently on. So I can use this to see like resistance, support zones building up. And I can go back further here. If we look at all the time, like this is all the time in the history of this, right? Or I should say at least all the relevant time for this up cycle. Look at the shelf down here that's support going all the way down to 300 now. Basically guarantees us that this is we're safe from dropping further because there's just so much volume as long as the fundamentals are good. But that's that line though, when we move around here, and there's a red line that'll pop up all of a sudden. You'll see it here in a second, I think. Let me just get over here. You should see it recalculate in a second. I don't think this is it. I think it's, oh yeah, no, okay, here it is, right here. This is where the peak volume is for the visible range profile. So all this is showing is like, hey guys, this is where there's trading volumes and price action bounces in between them. And you can see support and resistance zones with it, okay? So that's kind of how that stuff works, just so you know. And this is kind of the path I think we're headed in with Tesla. It doesn't have to be this way over this time, but basically I'm saying, hey, by maybe mid next year, we could hit 600 on Tesla. That's my current thesis. And then I think by the end of the year, beginning of 2026, if everything goes well, I think we could hit, 900 on that price. But again, let's get back over here. We got the bell getting ready to ring. Let me actually just do this real quick. I'm going to draw this other one up. I'm going to go back and we're going to pretend like it just happened. And then we'll hit this here. 1 second. I think this is going to play. While it's getting ready to play, I'm going to hop over here and we're going to look at the watch list to see how things are settling this morning. If it'll play. And it might take just a second for that to refresh anyway. But let me see. Where are we at, CNBC? Where are we at, brother? All right, let me see. Try this again. Taking beer money today after lunch. That's a weird thing to jump into. I don't know what that means. All right, here, 1 second. All right, everybody's excited. There we go.
Oracle. Okay.
Gotta hear the bell.
Doing what they can, and that's very smart.
Stock has not been a participant in this recent rally.
I told Raymond, your stock, the stock is incredibly hard to, because.
Somebody asked about my merch store. I know for sure it shows up on mobile. I don't know quite how it shows up on the YouTube desktop for the merch store. I don't know, but for sure on mobile when I pull up my YouTube, I can see merchandise underneath.
Every day you get up and there's someone, you have an RFK and maybe he decides he steps on a bag of Frito-Lay and plunges it.
Yeah, the spread is weird. That was kind of the spread between MSTX and MSTU has kind of flip-flopped since yesterday. I don't know what it's about. We'll watch it.
And says this is what's happening. Stock goes down.
Bitfarms just raised to speculative buy. That's the shit I'm talking about. That's the shit I'm talking about. Do you have a link, Scotty? Can you link that in chat? If you're on X, guys, you can send me links. If you got a link, shoot that over, dude. I want to repost that. Flux getting fluxed the fuck out. Flux has been a shitty investment so far. If there's anything I need to ask Rex about, it's Flux. Where's your latest Flux video, Rex?
PayPal for posts on social
media. But that's why I only made it 1% or 2% of my portfolio.
There's the company, David.
Doge. You're right, guys. Doge doing good. I probably should look at that one. AVAX doing good. Atom doing good. Optimism having another good day. This is a layer 2.
Maybe people don't think
Palantir getting a little reprieve today, up 1%. Arbitrum, again, layer 2s. Ethereum doing all right. SoFi doing good. Let's resort here.
And Max Levchin does a monster good quarter and announces new deal with Amazon.
MSTU up 4.17%.
Average bank. Then you were short.
Yeah, where was the other one? Where was MSTX? Did you say it was negative?
Doubles. And that's what
Flat.
I'm saying.
Weird.
Short base that's
some
wrong.
weird price action. How do I get a gift subscription? I'm poor.
Retail. You have a good quarter.
I don't know. Get a job?
Reverse charismatic guy, Levchin. He comes off as being.
You can rob people too. Not recommended.
Kind of nice. And next thing you know, you
talk
have a
nice prostitution.
And
some people think that's a reputable field.
Is it expensive at 33? I don't know if it follows the NVIDIA formula. Maybe it's selling at 20 times earnings.
But our viewers did see the left part of that chart, which took you back to the last time. I'm not saying that this is akin to that, but
yeah, I don't care what they have to say. Let's just kill that for a sec. So Bonk down today. Bonk got bonked. Near down. Cypher Strategies, their sole one down. Ooh, Shanghai getting fucked. China's just gonna get fucked, guys. So much bad stuff in China. Render not loving today. Baba getting butchered. Who was the person trying to shill Baba in my chat yesterday? I think it was down 2 to 3% yesterday and then down again today. Shit, man. Getting a job these days isn't easy. Yeah, I wouldn't know. That's one benefit of being retired. But no, unemployment's still pretty low. I would think it's pretty easy. And again, there's always prostitution, guys. Whatever it takes, make those Benjamins, You got to do a dance, grab a pole, whatever. Do what you got to do. Get those Benjis up. All right, let's see here. Not too much going on. Not too bad. Not really carnage in the Bitcoin miner world, which is fascinating. Let's flip the script here and look at the positives. Amazon hiring all the time, I'm sure. Yeah, OnlyFans. There you go. Somebody was saying I should do one. I feel like I'm doing all right. I'm probably going to avoid the OnlyFans. MSTU is up 9. Oh, MSTX is starting to catch up. Of course, the one I buy today, the one I buy yesterday is the one that underperforms. Isn't that great? Isn't that the way the markets work? I don't know what that's about. What's the trade volume? Let's compare trade volume between MSTX and MSTU. I'd be interested to see if they flipped today. That would be weird. There's got to be some arbitrage, though, trying to level these out. I know they're OTC trades, which makes it harder. But there's got to be some kind of arbitrage trying to make sure that they're both level playing fields. But yeah, only 6% today on MSTX. MSTU up 9, which is weird. MSTU is overperforming. It shouldn't be doing this well. MicroStrategy is 3.52, it says here. So the fact that it's doing 9 is over 2x. So that's kind of weird too. Maybe there's some big dogs in there moving money. Define grabbing a pole, Jesse. No, I'm not defining any of that. No. All right, let's get back though. I want to listen to what this guy has to say. Again, this is cool stuff, guys, where you can buy Bitcoin in the future. And this banker is telling you that he thinks it's a better deal for them to get some Bitcoin as collateral than just the underlying property, and that they're giving cash back for this. So this is a way for somebody to not incur a tax obligation, refinance their mortgage, to be able to pull out of a lot of capital that includes DLO calls off 20%. Off? Does off mean down? Does off mean down? They can't move a lot. They move in like 5 cent, 10 cent increments or something. So, yeah, that can happen. But yeah, let's listen to it. This is really cool. I want to hear what's going on here.
Improvements, and with the remainder to buy the 20 Bitcoin.
Okay, we got to go backwards.
Go ahead.
You got to go backwards. We're just going to slow the whole thing down so everybody understands what happened. Okay. So there's
for
a property.
special needs, Dorkin.
Physical property.
Multifamily.
Right. It's a multifamily.
63 units.
It's a multifamily property. The sponsor, effectively the owner of that property, needs a loan.
That's right.
Okay. They come to you.
That's right.
Okay. You say, we'll provide you the loan in the form of
a loan.
A classic loan.
That's right.
Okay.
In the form of a loan.
Going to give them cash.
That's right. Term financing.
Term financing. And how long's the loan? Just
10 years.
10-year loan. Okay.
That's right.
At above market rate or below, or what's the
market
I
rate?
owe you a coffee.
I'm just trying to slow the whole thing. Okay. Now let's introduce the Bitcoin piece into it.
That's right.
So
Whoa.
Explain how the Bitcoin piece.
And why.
All right. Now I got to say this. Paul, you said, I owe you a coffee mug, by the way. You don't owe me anything. But he said, estimated MSTR on Wednesday, or exited MSTR on Wednesday at 171.32 and bought the dip yesterday. I'm assuming you're talking about like MSTX or MSTU because that's a different number than what MSTR is at, but cool. But then you bought the dip at 113.75 and have some ready for more dip buying. That's a pretty good turnaround, dude. That's sweet. I'm really excited for you. Miyagi Do Trading says, don't hyper-focus on BTC too much. The rest of the crypto ecosystem is ready to explode. Yeah, it is, but I just don't give a shit about 90% of it. I mean, I got my shit coins. My shit coins are very happy right now. What are they up? They're up. Yeah, I got some shit coin money today. We're up $6,500. Good job, shit coins. Keep doing that. But I don't care about 90% of it. It's just a multiplier, right? That's all it is. All right, let's get back to Dorkin.
So the loan has been provided.
The use of proceeds is to pay off the existing financing. So
the use of the proceeds
of the loan.
Oh, cool.
Of the loan
is to retire the existing mortgage.
Right. So there's an old mortgage.
Gone.
They're going to pay the old mortgage off.
It's been paid off.
Okay.
Now they have a little bit extra money to make some improvements in the property.
Right. So a little bit extra cash. So the amount of money you've lent pays off the old loan.
That's right.
It's also you have a little bit of extra to fix
Improve
stuff up.
the property, fix stuff up.
Yep.
And then with the remainder, which is a little bit
so you
more.
have even a little extra, an extra turn.
And that, instead of cash out, it's Bitcoin in. And
Love
we
that.
use it to purchase some Bitcoin and add it to the collateral package of the loan. So now our loan is supported by both the traditional asset, the 63-unit apartment building, and the Bitcoin.
Okay. So the loan, it was maybe $2 million more, so that's how you get the Bitcoin out?
Exactly right. So it's
on the assumption that the Bitcoin's going to rise faster, and that will become an asset.
Over the life of the loan, for sure. So we think on the downside, this provides us with much better protection compared to a traditional lender, because a traditional lender, if something goes wrong, they have to recover against that particular building, which is idiosyncratic risk. Something might happen.
This sounds fishy. This sounds amazing.
It also requires conviction on your end that Bitcoin is not a volatile asset over time, and that is either going to go up or at least stay where it is.
Well, that's by fusing the Bitcoin with credit and by fusing it with traditionally financeable assets, it gives us the luxury of expressing that medium-term view on Bitcoin, and that's what's key. It's volatile in the short run. You know, I mean, minute by minute today, who knows? It could cross 100,000. That would be exciting.
How long's the loan?
10 years.
10 years.
And the minimum hold period for the Bitcoin is 4 years. What we say to the borrower is we say, look, you can repay the loan at any time for any reason with no penalty.
I love
which is
Tropic
a really
Thunder,
valuable
by the way.
feature compared to a traditional
I haven't
loan.
watched it in a while.
That's like a home mortgage.
Like a home mortgage almost. That's very unusual for commercial financing. But what we do say is that to the extent that the loan is repaid at year 4 or earlier, the minimum will release the property. But the minimum length of time that the Bitcoin has to stay in escrow is 4 years.
Andrew, go on to, because I don't know how much time we have, but I'm fascinated.
For the first time?
There is a problem for state and municipalities in terms of the asset liability mix. Somehow you think that using Bitcoin, that you can lower that risk and increase returns and narrow the gap. How does that work for pensions?
Well, if you think about it, Joe, the average exposure to fixed income at U.S. pensions is around 25 to 30%.
Okay.
And many of them have an asset liability funding mismatch of around 25% as well. They're a big shortfall.
What are they?
It's going to be a big burden on taxpayers and a real problem.
We've talked about this so much and how to solve it.
Now, what they've been doing in credit is reaching for risk. going for super high yields, leverage, niche strategies. And I think that it's time to pivot away from those toward high quality credit, where the return per unit of risk is extremely attractive, but the returns are not as high. How do you compensate for that? You fuse the credit with Bitcoin, and you utilize the credit to express a medium to long-term duration. Because yes, if you have the Bitcoin for one day, one week,
we can look at
extremely
MSTX and
volatile.
MSTR.
But for 4 years, 4-year hold period, the worst ever return has been just over.
And for anybody who hasn't seen Tropic Thunder, it is required viewing. If nothing else, just for the intro where they do commercials. I remember I saw that in the theater with my father-in-law and my wife, and he was a very stoic man. He's passed now, but he's a very stoic, like chill personality, and he was laughing so hard at the intro of that. There were literally people in the theater that didn't know what the fuck was going on. They didn't figure out right away that the ads weren't real. But like the booty sweat and the bust the nut bar, oh my God, like so good.
23%, the 5th percentile, 30%, the 50th percentile, 91%. So if you take a small amount of Bitcoin and you add it to a large amount of high quality credit in novel lending solutions, novel structured credit pairings, what you can accomplish from an asset allocation and an overall portfolio strategy perspective is incredible. It can actually be a cornerstone to close the asset liability gap at pensions.
Unless it's rat poison and goes to zero.
Well, you know, that's like saying we built this building to withstand a direct collision with Jupiter. Now, that's never happened in the history of the Earth.
This is only 15, 20 years.
16 years, but that's the history that we have. And if you look at that entire history, it's shown some of the fastest adoption of any asset in the world. I mean, the use cases that are being built on Bitcoin are amazing. People are using it in energy use cases like ERCOT to balance the grid in Texas, or gridless in Africa to provide electricity to small villages, but have a second purchaser of the electricity, which is the Bitcoin network. Payments and remittances, companies like Strike that are providing phenomenal solutions. Savings technology, companies like Fold. Man. And when you see these use cases, when you see Bitcoin and its characteristics, you understand why people are adopting it. It's not just a random decision. It's based on these characteristics.
And you point out America has its first Bitcoin president, supposedly, I guess, and Cynthia Lummis in line to have an important spot, digital asset chairman of the digital assets subcommittee. Gensler's going to be gone. We now know that.
So we'll look at price action more in a second.
Are aligning.
Well, one of the biggest use cases for Bitcoin is to, it's the first time in my life, let me say, that I've heard a credible strategy to defease the national debt in the United States. You know, otherwise you have either crippling service reductions or huge tax increases.
This guy's really bright,
now with Senator Lummis's proposal and President Trump's leadership, President-elect Trump's leadership on the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, if the United States begins to add this asset to its national balance sheet, you can actually see a path where over the course of the next 10, 15, 20 years, the degree to which that asset appreciates, not just for the government, but also for everyone who chooses to invest and save in it.
Yeah, MSTX is being weird.
Grow
it's
more
only a
rapidly than the depreciation of the currency, and that's a really exciting
What
possibility.
happens 4 years from now if you get an administration that is less friendly to any of this? We've seen a big uptick.
There is no administration in the United States. Well, first off, I don't think Democrats can win in 4 years because I think too many positive things will happen that'll make it to where people are like, why the fuck do we want to go back? So let's give it 8. But by that time, man, we're already at escape velocity. So it's just a stupid question, Becky. This whole group, I mean, Joe is the most Bitcoin friendly. I think he's trying to, he's weirdly playing like more against Bitcoin and more against like Trump lately. I don't know if they told him to do that. I don't know. But the whole group is pretty dumb. Yeah, Vance has probably got the next election. I agree. They're just, Democrats are, they still can't even like, they can't even comprehend why they lost, most of them. And that's problematic, right? If you can't even come to the realization of why you lost, you're going to lose again.
Based on the idea that the regulatory structure is going to be more friendly, what happens if it's a 4-year holding term on the loan, if in 4 years you have an administration that is much less friendly?
You know, I think that the bigger picture here is that the deficit is still very significant, and the funded federal debt's going to go in 4 years, probably today, 37 trillion to 50, 60, 70, who knows exactly, and that's not even talking about Social Security and Medicare. And so Bitcoin, which is finite, scarce, divisible, incredible savings technology, serves as an excellent counterbalance to that. And as the government begins to benefit as well, and not only the federal government, but you're seeing the state of Pennsylvania has introduced legislation for a state level.
So you're saying once they're in, they're not going to be able to get out?
Well, they're going to...
Too harmful to their
I think he's saying that, as we've seen so far, that whenever anyone says anything about Bitcoin, that it is what it is, and it proves most of the skeptics wrong given time. And when does the last
proves all of them
person
wrong for
claiming
16
it's a
years.
Baby, when are they going to be
16 years
converted? Maybe never. It's almost like an asymptote. It'll get close and closer, but it'll never get there.
I mean, we're definitely at the S curve. But there's a phrase in Bitcoin, which is that you can't ban Bitcoin, you can only ban yourself from the benefits of Bitcoin.
Right.
And my experience is that the sooner that people open up their mind to the possibilities of this asset, the more they begin to think, what can they do with it? And there's so many possibilities of what can be done with it.
Great. Andrew Holmes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate you coming in.
All right, so we're going to, this thing will try and roll over. I'm going to prevent it. Maybe we're okay. All right, let's hop over here real quick. So I do want to look. I want to look and see how we're doing. So we've got Atom, AVAX, MSTU, 6.37. That is a 2X fund. MSTX, the day I move into this, not a 2X fund, only doing 3.39. No idea why whatsoever. Let's pull up the chart here real quick and see if we can figure out. Let's check volumes on it, compare these two, and then also see if we can, I don't know, make any sense of it. Maybe there's some news. But it is weird. I'm not going to lie. But we had that same problem in the other direction with the other one. So I think we're just going to get some of these days where we have disparities. So MSTU, volume, 2 million, up almost 8% on the day. So volume 2 million, up almost 8%. Let's look over here and see what we have for MSTX. So volume higher, sitting at 3 million, still underperforming, but starting to pick up pace. Oh, let me hit this here. So MSTR is up 4%. This is up 5%. So it's starting to accelerate, but you're right. It's behind, and I don't know why. I don't know why. You'd think people would be arbing this play, but again, both of these are OTC. They're both over the counter. It slows you down. You got to punch in manual numbers for bid and ask. You can get an algo to do that, but it is weird. Oh, hey, we did have another bit of data, guys. Global PMI. I'm going to hop over to that. We'll check back with this later. Let's get over here real quick. And 1 second, we're just going to go live. We're going to go back a little bit so we can get the full Rick rant.
I'm not fighting a firm is what I'm saying. I'm not fighting. One day I will fight it. I don't need to fight it yet.
Well, the street's in your corner today, Jim. Dow's up almost 300.
I mean, who was shorting it? When I was at 3 a.m., you saw my post.
Yes, I did.
It was actually
first thing I saw.
It was 3:20 a.m. And I said, "Who is shorting this market? What kind of knucklehead?" And I said, "Oh, maybe because it's raining.
It's raining.
Maybe that's why they're shorting it."
The macro has not been as constructive in Europe, and now it's our turn. Let's get to Rick Santelli. Morning, Rick.
Yes, data matters. 9:45, mark it on your charts. Look at stocks move higher, rates move higher because S&P Global PMIs are moving higher. If we look at manufacturing, still under 50, the fifth consecutive month under 50, but at 48.8, it's sequentially higher and actually the best since July of this year. Now let's get to the meat here.
We'll go into the details. I want to hear what he has to say.
Zooming up to 57. It's a 22nd consecutive reading above 50, and this one is the best since March of 22. And if we look at the composite, obviously affected in a positive way by the strong services side, it's at 55.3. That is the best read since April of 22 and also the 22nd consecutive reading above 50. We see interest rates moving up. If you look at a 2-year right now at 4.35, it's unchanged on the day, and it's up 4 on the week. If we look at 10s at 4.41, it's -1 on the day, -3 on the week, and it's the 9th consecutive session that 4.41 has been in the range. One other thing, bond yields about ready to close at a 1-month low yield. Why? 11 basis point range, super weak German GDP. Squawk on the Street will return after a short break.
All right, let's go over. I want to see this real quick. We can look at MSTX and MSTU. Again, guys, remember yesterday, MSTU was underperforming. And like Ethan was saying, he said that, well, in the volume, so I care about volumes just to know how much volume is in each one of these funds and which one has a larger amount from just, the ability to have liquidity. But he said that the way these funds works is they buy derivatives that try to mirror the 2X. The people buying the derivatives have likely miscalculated. I would agree they have, because when you have MSTX literally doing worse than MicroStrategy, there's a miscalculation there. I do think it will be fixed, but yes, it's pretty off right now. Agreed. All right, very quickly here, let's look over. I want to actually look at the data here too. So the S&P Global Composite PMI 55.3 again. It was 54.3 was what was expected. Let's just look at the chart over here. So that is literally the best number on the composite since April of 2022. So that's good. Let's break it down though into the others. Oh, I hate that it doesn't always refresh. 1 second. Data looks like it came in good. Manufacturing, 48.8. So this one came in at consensus, but it missed forecast for the manufacturing side. Services are still the really hot part. Manufacturing, again, will get better under Trump. But so far, again, it's in contraction territory. It's not a good look. Let me refresh. Can we only do 3 years on this? Is that real? It's kind of dumb. But yeah, so again, it sucks. We're in contraction. Manufacturing's been contracting for a long time. It's not ideal. Services still strong though, very strong. Strongest read since again around that March 2022 timeframe. So right near some of the peaks where we were seeing everybody getting excited and going out and spending money. So I think the gist is manufacturing weak, not crazy, and then global services PMI looking really strong. MSTX, yeah, it's underperforming the 2X. At least it's not much lower than MSTR, so it's starting to catch up. We'll get there. It'll even out. All this stuff evens out over time, so don't worry too much about it over the short term. All right, so again, that's that data. So I'll back over here real quick. I want to see if there's anything else I want to talk about. It's almost 9 o'clock. That is the bulk of the data that we're going to receive today. I'm sorry. No. At 9 in 7 minutes. I'll stick around at least for that. We get all the Michigan data. And that's going to have some inflation expectations, current conditions, sentiment, all that stuff. That could be market moving too. So we'll stick around for another 6 minutes at least to make sure that that's playing out well. Disease Kodak, my bad, guys. I bought. Markets don't like me. Okay, well, next time, give us a heads up, bro. Okay, so we know. Oh, let's see. Everybody's got something to complain about for underperformance, though. I do like that CleanSpark is actually up 3% today. That's cool. That is cool. Yeah, what are you guys talking about with the 201 issue? Where's the news on CleanSpark for that? Maybe I was looking at the wrong one. I heard about Bitfarm news and CleanSpark news. If you guys are on X2, you can throw that into the chat, but let me just scroll down here and see if I can find this news you're talking about. SMLR, we looked at that yesterday, reversing. Cool. Oh. Max posted it. All right, let me see. Max, CLSK. Oh, there we go. I almost had him. This guy. Let's see here. What do we got? 21st. 32 minutes ago. Update. Today, I will share my analysis. Okay, that's not helpful. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Let's get to the right one. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks, Chad. I'm reading online that the SEC has imposed Rule 201 on CleanSpark and a few other proxies. What is Rule 201? It is the SEC. Oh, interesting. Ooh. We're gonna retweet this real quick, and we're gonna let my robot here read this out in full. This could get interesting. That's great. I hope this has happened. I don't know if we've gotten official confirmation of this yet, but let's see what happens here. 1 sec. We're gonna let my robot talk. Oh, it's not gonna talk because it only has like one little piece highlighted. 1 second here. Let me do this.
I am reading online that the SEC has imposed Rule 201 on CLSK.
I'm going to see if I can find that anywhere else.
What is Rule SEC 201? SEC Rule 201 is part of Regulation Show Short Sale Price Test Circuit Breaker, which was adopted to address concerns about market declines and short selling practices. Purpose. Rule 201 is designed to prevent short sellers from driving down the price of a stock excessively during a single trading day. If a stock's price declines by 10% or more from the prior day's closing price, a short sale price test restriction is triggered. Mechanism, once triggered, this rule restricts short selling from being executed at a price that is less than or equal to the current national best bid. This means short sellers must execute their trades at a price above the current best bid to potentially stabilize the stock's price. Duration. The restriction remains in effect for the remainder of the day and the following day. I will update you all if I hear any more about this, but this would be seen as a positive for CLSK.
I'm not seeing that anywhere. It's showing Rule SOC is being applied. Oh, okay. All right, never mind. IBKR, one of the brokers out there, Blue Skype 93, Skype, wow, says that the Rule 201 is being applied to CleanSpark per that exchange. So, all right, interesting. Fuck, that's cool, dude. That is cool. MSTX lagging hard. Yeah, it's behind the actual underlying. So they got something to fix there. But hey, that's what happens. Oh, maybe MSTX and you are rebalancing today from previous days when MSTU is... Yeah, that's the thing. So MSTU was the underperformer yesterday. Today it's MSTX. Get used to it, guys. This is how stuff works. That rule needs to be applied to Tesla too. Yeah, right. I hear you. But no, the miners, though, like Rex was saying, we could see that, you know, these short sellers are probably positioning themselves in a way where they can benefit by crushing these miners unfairly, while making a bunch of money off these bond conversions. So I mean, it's kind of bullshit, and it's great that they enforce this rule. Maybe it'll create a floor on these where they can start going up more. The options contracts seem to like it. The ones I have are up 7% today for CleanSpark, even though it's only up, you know, almost 2%. I don't know what kind of day we're going to see today, guys. We'll see in a minute here when we get that other economic data. Shortly after that, I'm probably going to bounce. I'll be looking at things I'll be posting as normal, but I'll probably take off. I'll let you guys know if I have any trades, of course, to anybody who's subscribed on Discord or X. You'll get that right away. And thank you to the 900 plus people here. If you could hit the like, that would be wonderful. Really appreciate it. Are you going to buy more? Yeah, I should, actually. I should buy it while it's all retarded. Let me see. I got what? I got $45,000. I'll probably wait a second to see how much more Bitcoin rolls over. I don't know. Really want to save more dry powder for the... I don't know. We'll see. You know what? It is underperforming pretty decently. I feel like I kind of have to. All right, I'm going to jump over here, guys. We're going to pull up real quick. We're going to go live. We're going to get to the point. Rick should be popping up in a second here. While that's happening, I might buy me another 4,000 to 5,000 in MSTX here. See if I can drive out the price at all. Probably not. All right. I don't want to do the math. So much work. Let me just put in 375. That seems like the right number. Maybe 425. Oh, what is it at? 119. Wow, these guys, this thing's down to 118. That's amazing. All right, let me see if I can get it. 1 second here. Nope, too much. Okay. Boom, 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 boom.
Rated PG.
All right, here we go.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to another hour of Squawk on the Street. I'm Carl Quintanilla with Morgan Brennan here at Post 9, along with David Faber at the New York Stock Exchange. Sarah Eisen.
All right, I bought $44,000 in MSTX, 375 shares, I believe.
on assignment. Coming off the best day for the Dow since November 6th and adding a little bit more. Dow's up almost 300 points, 59.66 S&P. Got the best PMIs since 2022, and that has lifted the front end of the curve, although the 10-year remains a little suppressed.
Well, we're 30 minutes into the trading session, so here are three big movers that we're watching this Friday. Shares of Gap soaring. The retailer raising its sales outlook for the year after reporting market share growth across its brands in the third quarter. The stock's had a volatile ride this year. It's really a turnaround story. Shares are up almost 8% right now. Shares of Intuit, though, those are falling after its earnings guidance came in below street estimates. The company delaying promotions for its desktop version of TurboTax. You can see those shares are down about 4%. And we are continuing to keep a close eye on the crypto trade. Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs again, hitting $98,525. We are getting so much closer to that $100,000 milestone. A lot of chatter, though, that maybe we're overbought here. We got more on this trade ahead in the show.
Let's get some Umish with Rick Santelli. Hey, Rick.
Yes, there's more warm data here, Carl. So we look at University of Michigan. These are November finals. So we take the mid-month reads and we toss them. So 73.0 was the mid-month read. That now becomes 71.8. So that gets downgraded a bit. Now, if we look at current conditions, that gets downgraded to 63.9 from 64.4. And if we continue to look at the downgrades, University of Michigan expectations, one lies ahead, moves from 78.5 mid-month to 76.9. But here's where it gets interesting. The inflation data, the one-year inflation remains the same, up 2.6%. And up 2.6% was actually made some progress. When it was released mid-month, that was the lowest month-over-month one-year inflation going back to December of 2020 when it was at 2.5. But the 5 to 10-year inflation is sticky. It moves from 3.1 to 3.2. 3.2 equals where we were in November of last year. To find a higher number, get this, you have to go all the way back to June of 08 when it was 3.4. So that's most likely going to keep some of those lighter full month reads on the sentiment under wraps a bit. And the long end, you got it right, Carl. The long end is a little squeamish here. It's at 440 down 4 on the week, where the twos at 435 are up 4 on the week. 2s to 10s moving 8 basis points, as you could see on the week. Back to you, David.
All right, Rick. Thank you, Rick.
One sec, I just want to check bonds. All right, so we got a nice little pop in the 2-year, like he's talking about. Let me check real quickly on the 10, and then I want to look at the data that he's talking about too. Within a more visual way. I hate how they don't do it more visually. All right, so we're trying to test back up towards our red line that we had drawn out here, but I still think we're rolling over. But let's look at the actual data and make sense of it based upon what he is saying. So we've got the Michigan consumer sentiment. Again, that was a little bit lower, 71.8 versus the 73 and 73.7 that he was talking about. So it was a little bit lower than what was expected. It's still not a horrible number by any means, and it looks like the path is up. Let's look at... Oh, I hate it when it doesn't refresh. Siraj, what the heck, dude? Thank you, man. $50. You're very generous, sir. Jesse made 6 figures this year thanks to you and Amit. Keep it up. MicroStrategy, baby. Awesome, dude. That's really good to hear. Amit's a great guy. I love Amit. All right, let me get over here real quick. 5-year inflation expectations, 3.2%. So this is the stickiness they're talking about. We haven't looked at this in a few days. Let's look at the CME Fed Watch tool. I don't know how quickly this is going to recalc, but I'll try and keep it on my agenda to look at later. It says December rate cut 56%. I think that probably went up based upon what we're seeing here for this 5-year inflation expectation rolling up even higher. I think that's gonna definitely put some pressure on it. Let me see here. Oh, excuse me. Michigan consumer expectations final is lower than expected. So it was 78.5, but we actually got 76.9. So we were expecting that to be stronger. It was weaker. So we're getting higher inflation expectations. We're getting weaker data. I don't know if this is going to bode well for the market over the short term. Could retrace more. Maybe it'll just shrug it off and not really care. I don't know. It's kind of iffy right now. I still think we're getting the rally. But let's look here. What do we have here? So we're at Michigan current conditions dropped a decent amount. The 64.4 was consensus and forecast. We got 63.9, which is pretty low over here. And if you go out to the 10-year, you can see how we're near like the historical low, but maybe setting a higher one. But again, this is a shitty level. This is something where it could get a lot better. Lots of manufacturing. So I do think this will get better in the future. Michigan inflation expectations, not the 5-year inflation, but just the inflation expectations. Final came in line at 2.6. It's probably going to be the more pertinent one, not the 5-year. So I don't know, kind of a mixed bag of nuts. Nothing too crazy here. Nothing too crazy. Again, we got a good services number earlier, and manufacturing was like blah, wasn't too bad. So I don't know how much impact this has. Let's look real quickly at markets again and see how things are going. Let's check our percentages here and see where we're at. Adam, we still seem to be risk on. MSTU crushing it. Of course, the one I bought, MSTX, is not, but I have faith it'll come back around. Optimism, 6.18%. Again, another great day for it. Doge, 3.28. CleanSpark, 3.2. Loving that. Best Buy is up on the list at 3%. Wow. Arbitrum, MSTX, 2.63. Quit sucking. SoFi up over 2. DLO up almost 2. That should help those options contracts somebody was talking about that were falling earlier. There's a lot less liquidity in here, and the numbers jump pretty big because the contracts are so cheap. But eventually we'll start to see that go up, those contracts, if this keeps going up. Tesla up 1.22, PayPal up 1. It's a good day in markets, guys. It's not like a crazy breakout day. It's not like we're getting 50% returns on our MicroStrategy-ish investments today, but not a bad day. ARGT flat. Glad I sold that the other day to buy more MSTX. BITX, you got to realize Bitcoin's actually down 1% today, or at least with a 2x play, so it's down like 4.4%. If that's in line. Solana's down today off of its recent all-time high. Hood is down today. Cypher Mining down today. NVIDIA down almost 2% today. Mara down 2.3%. Again, Bitfarms down 2.4%. There's a lot of stuff getting beat up today. Volatility is down today, though, which is good. But I don't know. This is a pretty decent day. We might sell off a little bit. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited and I'm bullish. I just want to be clear. I'm excited and I'm bullish. And I think we're getting our Thanksgiving rally. That's my take. I encourage people to be bullish. And, Palantir 3030. Adam, what's up, dude? Jesse, what's up? Take a look at MSTX and MSTU. It seems, the peg is off for the 2-year. It happens. Yesterday, that was actually MSTU that was sucking. Today, it's MSTX. We'll see. Usually by end of day, I think it straightens itself out. I bought another 44,000 Adam in MSTU today. So I've got like 6,000 or MSTX. So I've got like 600,000 now, I want to say in that. And if other things are popping and it drops, I'm going to buy more. I maybe should have a diversified. Maybe if I buy more, I'll do it in MSTU. That's probably the right move. I think I'm going to do MSTU and MSTX for my 2X plays, because that way, if one of them isn't performing the way I want it to, I can still capitalize on the other one. And then eventually, again, they'll work themselves out. So... and maybe that's something to think about. If you've got one that's overperforming one day, I don't know. Well, I'll have to think about it. Because maybe you want to do the inverse of it. If it's underperforming, that's the one you want to buy. I mean, that just makes sense. I'll have to look at the patterns and how it trades, though. Justin just said go down. I don't know where you want me to go down, but that's not really my thing. VR Japan, Brad G is talking about selling on Uber and CNBC was interesting. Oh, Brad Gerlinghouse. Yeah, that was really good. I did post about that. CleanSpark up finally. Yes. The thing I love, though, is people aren't focused on the fact that CleanSpark is up. It's that MSTX is down. You got to take the wins when you got them, guys. And MSTX, hey, it's doing all right. It's up 2%. I mean, MicroStrategy is up 3%. But it'll get there. Trust me. It'll get there. At least I sold out of Mara yesterday, and now it's down today. That's the way to do it. Lars Strand, Jesse, check out the Russell. Looks like rotation in the broader market. I believe it. I think that's probably exactly what's happening. Yeah, we can look at it. We talked about it yesterday. Oh, yeah, super bullish. Totally bullish, dude. Again, above the fib. We were above it. We broke down underneath of it. Couldn't stay there for more than a week. And now we're in this beautiful breakout pattern where we're looking at small caps getting ready to roll. That's exactly what's happening. It's beautiful. It's up 1%. Let's see. Let me see here real quick. What is? Let's check the S&P real quick and the Nasdaq. After this, I'm probably going to bail. Yeah, S&P's only up 0.12, so definitely lagging. Love to see that. And the Nasdaq is down 0.2. Why? Because I think Nvidia is retracing. Oh yeah, Nvidia, Google, Meta, Amazon. But look who's winning today. Tesla. I love this, guys. To me, this is the perfect day. This is the perfect rotation. MXTX was doing a 3x MicroStrategy for a bit after market and pre-market. Could be related. Yeah, honestly, it was doing like a 2.5x yesterday, which is why I bought it. But that's probably the opposite mentality of what you want to have with the derivatives and the way that this stuff works, like what Ethan was talking about earlier. The one that's really outperforming that day, you probably want to buy the other one the next morning, right? Because it's probably gonna do some kind of inverse price action. Nick, how can one performing better over another when they both depend on MicroStrategy? It's because of the way that they have to, like he said, buy the derivatives and do all the mechanics behind the scene. Their goal is to get that 2x all the time, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to, because it's not directly correlated. So you can have times where there's an imbalance, like what we're seeing right now, which is probably a good reason, leading back to my other point that I made, where you might want to think about having some in both, an MSTU and an MSTX play. That way, if one of them for some reason is off what it's supposed to be delivering, you're able to still sell or buy the other one, right? Again, like arbitrage. Could we see a scenario of selling MSTX when it outperforms and buying MSTU for that? Yeah, exactly, Amit. Yeah, you could do something where if you're in something that's really overperforming that day, maybe you want to take it out. If you're doing it like in IRAs, like I do my daily trading, then maybe you take it out and sell a little bit on that one, and then you buy into the other one that's underperforming that day. So sell a little bit of the one that's overperforming, buy a little bit into the one that's underperforming, and then get the benefit of the arbitrage. I think that's totally the way to do it, and I think I'm going to do that going forward. Google stock sucks. Seems like it's been the most underperforming of all Max 7. I agree, and it's not a great company in my opinion. I don't like companies that do censorship. I don't like it, and I don't like the fact that Meta, even though Mark Zuckerberg is talking a good game, seems to still kind of be doing some of that, right? Like we know that they still had executives during the election or people that were higher up in different parts of the organization that were blatantly talking about how they censored things all the time. So I don't dig Meta. I don't dig Google. I definitely don't dig Sam Altman's ChatGPT. And I kind of dislike Apple a little bit. I love their computers still. I won't buy an Apple phone that has ChatGPT integrated with it. No fucking way. Jesse, what MicroStrategy derivatives would you recommend besides MSTU and MSTX? I work for a broker and our clients trade those all the time and don't want to get in a compliance trouble. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's 3LMI, but I don't even know what kind of volume that has. I've never touched it. It's a 3X play. Those are probably the best. I would stay away from MSTY that tries to do a yield strategy. They've been getting decimated. I think MSTU, MSTX, and then I don't know about 3LMI. I think it's 3LMI. It's like a 3X fund. You'd have to look. All right, guys. I think I'm done for today. Okay. So I think I've had it. So I hope you have a good one. I hope you have a great weekend. Might end up doing something over the weekend. No guarantees though. I've got a really pretty big one sitting in front of me right now. So what did you say with Canada real quickly? Mucho. Canada cutting taxes on essentials in December and giving everyone who made less than $150K this year $250. God, that sounds fucking like a horrible idea. That just sounds like it sounds like desperation. I agree, Mucho. It sounds like a way to try and prop up the economy for the lower half. But when you're doing that, you're printing money. When you're printing money, you're stealing from the people that give you the money. So it really does nothing in the end. It does nothing in the end. So I don't get the point. But anyway, I love you guys. Thank you very much. Hope you have a great day. Thank you for spending your time with me today. And again, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you later. Peace out, okay? Bye. Oh, like, probably not doing a video. Bye.